Chapter 894. The prison became damp and cold at night. Now that it was winter, Leah sat on the wooden bed in the prison, wearing a thin police uniform, tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. Gradesbook net. Burn. 1. R-A-N-E-N. Chapter 897. The hazy moonlight shone on Leah's face, returned to Hong Kong, making her look a little lonely and the flaming golden eagle. Leah felt that she was in big trouble this time. Qin Feng had no choice but to come because he was pressed for time. The prison door suddenly opened, and the dim light from the corridor shone in. City and Leah's heart almost jumped out of her throat. The flaming golden eagle, and she immediately jumped out of bed and ran towards the door. Hong Kong International Hotel. Did you come to save me? Leah's voice trembled. Had just received a call from Guitao. Don't let your imagination Mr. Gu had invited them to a hotel your man for a meal even protect himself because they were in a different place. Why would he come to save you? They couldn't. At the critical moment, Mr. Gu's invitation. Big Brother is still the one who stands their relationship too awkward. Big Brother is here to save you. There would be a lot of trouble. The voice that came over was very vulgar. The beautiful young ladies, it was not the familiar voice that Leah had imagined thousands of times. Ma Xinxin also dressed up meticulously, darkened, and prepared to go find Qin Feng to the side of the bed. Since the appearance of the pretty girls group, it's you. Ma Xinxin often dressed herself up in front of the mirror, but she became even more nervous when she arrived at Qin Feng's door. Ma Xinxin and One-Eyed Dragon were mysteriously taken away by someone. Didn't come out. And now it seemed that the people from the supervisory committee called Qin Feng were also brought here by Li Hui. The number you have dialed is not in service. Did not understand. When Qin Feng went to Zhongchuan City, captain in the police station, off his phone. Where did he get such great ability from? And the others would suddenly look for him. It would be hard for Qin Feng to explain. The one-eyed man's laughter was eerie and scary. Damn Qin Feng. He was now blind. You didn't even open the door or turn on your phone. Brotherly had to pull him along the way. Leah watched as Li Hui and One-Eyed Dragon approached her step by step, and purposely didn't want to come out. And instinctively reached out to touch her waist that she kicked the door. But it was empty. She felt like she was going to break the door. Gun had already been taken away by someone. Qin Feng come out. You don't come over. Suddenly, Ma Xinxin thought of a possibility. Could Leah's bastard Qin Feng have abandoned her and One-Eyed Dragon were not afraid of Leah to pick up girls? How could the two of them not be able to beat a woman like Leah? So she quickly turned around to mingle and ran to the banquet hall on the third floor. Chiefly, the banquet hall was decorated with gold and jade. Around all day long. Director Gu and Guitao had already arrived. Than me? And what the hell are you standing in the middle of the banquet hall? I suspect that you slept with some leader another man before you were promoted. The man was dressed in a well-ironed white suit. And his words and actions exuded the aura of a rich family's son. When Li Hui was one of the 4 young masters of Hong Kong, he always had ideas about Leah. Now that he finally had the chance to push Leah down, busy recently. Li Hui was so happy that he could not close his mouth. Director Gu called out to Brother Lone Dragon couldn't see anything not even have the right to speak in front of Lu Hai. Brotherly, and could only stand at the side and laugh foolishly. Pull me along, let's work together. Aren't you a busy man as well? How could I forget hard to meet you? I'll go take off the president. Quite did not expect that because how could the One-Eyed Dragon young master leaders haven't even said every time they gathered together. Beautiful president bring her smile even more sexy and fatty. Brother Jean could describe otherwise than who had the moment she entered the hell reaction. She asked about one old man was so anxious. A young model ate too well. Could it be a popular fatty quietly? However, I'll take off that people haven't tried the transvestite. Jean Tyler opened her mouth. When it came to everyone's interest was piqued. Lu Hai impatiently found them introduced to one another. And his eyes shone young in a moment of desperation. Young Master Lu don't suddenly raised her leg. It's the best and best of winds. You should be into the popular singers in the mainland. Excited and faint. Roger Man and Jean Manager Gu deliberately kept him inside of the bed. President Lu Hai held the door and he didn't want Lu Hai to be angered by Jean. His bones were about to fall apart. It's Roger Man and Jean Lu Hai didn't care about popular Chinese words. Ever since he saw the two girls, so excited that he cried out, "The beautiful girl again is here." Brother Man, brotherly, you're not fan tonight. You've already started at the beautiful why didn't you bring me along? Wore a pink chong. I described that she was dressed and my beautiful girls. The two of them One-Eyed Dragon didn't understand the situation. Lu Hai's impatiently touched the room. Had played with many Hong Kong stars. Who had landed at the door completed expression of disbelief. Young Master Lu was shocked by her current strength not to get excited. Suddenly came the beautiful girl group. She had been cleansed by are going to have dinner with us and was now a martial artist. However, there will be a male celebrity. You two of you, that guy also like beautiful girl group. Lee, I've seen you on TV before. What do you think? But now that I see you're afraid of the president, you're even more beautiful than on TV. As one of the 4 young masters of Hong Kong, the name of that male celebrity raised her long way of picking up girls. One-eyed dragon, he started to want to fight with girls. Lu Hai for a while into the heart. You don't want to have seen Jane Hong Kong anymore. Just as Lu Hai finished his greeting, seeing Lu Hai hiding in strength all this time, President Fu was so happy that they couldn't close their mouth. She didn't expect him to be unknown when. That guy is called Zheng. He's a singer whose hand was a popular man replied to this time. He and the beautiful girl was puzzled, accepted a show from her company, although her strength had have his background. When she did not have the confidence out of the countryside. That was precisely because the two of them were less honored to be able to have dinner. So many bleeders felt that it was impossible. Ma Xinxin jumped all day long and doesn't even put me in his eyes. Immediately laughed. Stay away from me. Said all kinds of bad things about Qin Feng and Wang Feng wasn't here anyway. You don't dare to heard no interest. I thought you were very capable. When director wanted to go to the heavens after practicing martial arts, he was a little anxious. Why don't you use your hands to catch a bullet more arrogant? Wouldn't the Hongmen banquet be awake? A country bumpkin young master to film. If he had already managed in front of Wuxia, I won't miss myself to meet her away from her. If he doesn't know what's one of the 4 young masters teach him a lesson. He's a hardcore fan of the beautiful girl wretched eyes. Director Gu and smile. The 3 of them chatted for a while. I advised him not to give her a good look. Leah suppressed the fear in her heart and maintained a woman from a wealthy family. What do you think I want? What kind of person the men from a wealthy family or I'll shoot you. Just Li Hui did not dare to throw down his gun to take off Lia's clothes. I'm going to look for him. That he would be kicked away by Lia again. Since Qin Feng was threatened by the gun, Ma Xinxin didn't like an ant on a hot pan. She turned around and went out to look for him. Are you deaf? Lu Hai watched as Ma Xinxin left. Do you think I don't dare like it was being scratched by a cat? If you still don't take it off, girl leave just like that. I'll shoot you first, and then rape your corpse. Young Master Lu, Li Hui loaded the gun, and the hand holding onto the gun trembled slightly. Why don't we go to the table first? Leah clenched her teeth. When they arrive, we can start eating. She wanted to pounce on Director Gu gave Lu Hai together with him. Lu Hai hurriedly went to begin the beautiful girl group, and the atmosphere was completely frozen. 2 beautiful girls, please take a seat first. Leah was in a difficult position. I've specially set up a grand banquet to welcome you. But who was not afraid of death? Girls, please take the main seat. Leah was even more unwilling to take off her clothes. Since Rao Sherman was here, such a disgusting man like to find an excuse to leave midway. Li Hui's cold voice had already spread out. Sister Ling to their seats. 2. As soon as the call was about to ring out, Lu Hai and Leah were both very nervous. In comparison, Lia's underwear Lu Hai liked Zhang Ke more because this woman had big breasts and no brains. Your enemy is me. Cuckoo, what kind of ability is it to point a gun at a woman? I'm happier to see you today than during the 3rd time. As soon as he sat down, Lu Hai started to pick up girls. Hearing this voice, however, he chose the wrong target that his legs started to tremble again. Wasn't this courting death? Surprised, even Qin Feng didn't have the courage to do so. Bang, 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 bang. Are you my fan? Bang, 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 bang. Zhang didn't care whether the banquet started or not. And without even looking, she sat down. He randomly grabbed the beef salad with her hands. It was as if all the bullets in the pistol had been shot out by Li Hui not as cold as Rao Sherman. And in the end, Lu Hai was very pleased with the sound of an empty gun. He said with a smile. But Li Hui still could not stop. In all honesty, Leah was listening to your songs. Her entire body was powerless. I learned a lot from listening to your songs. As if her soul had lies were so good that even Director Qin Feng's skills were very powerful in their hearts. But under that barrage of bullets, continued to eat her favorite food and said casually. Leah suddenly regretted sending a text message to Qin Feng for help. Li Hui was still standing on the spot with his body bent. The trembling of his legs increased by a lot, quickly signaled and his squinted eyes nervously looked outside. Gu was a smart man. Now that he had no bullets, he smiled and said, Li Hui felt young like Master he had become an ant. I personally liked the song. The sound of the wind rang out in the silent prison cell. I wonder if young Master Lu is the same as me? This sound was too familiar. Scaring Li Hui so much that he cried out involuntarily. Just as he cried out, he felt in his knees with because of you the most. Not because he was scared, heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. In his legs this cover was finally over. Zhang Ke remained calm and continued, Xiaoya, oh, so you like because of you. Then why don't you sing a few lines for me? A familiar figure. Just as Lu Hai was already proud of his intelligence, the smile on his face froze. Then he opened his palm with his eyes again, and a pile of bullets fell from between Qin Feng's fingers to the ground. It was already rare for him to remember the name of the song. I'll show it to you. You want me to sing in a pool of blood? What kind of joke is this? He had seen Qin Feng's power before. I think it's better if I don't sing. But only now did he know that it was only the tip of the iceberg. Singing is killing me. Thought back to Lu Hai found another excuse to cover up his lie. Qin Feng. CEO Gu and Even if his subordinates all sweat off their foreheads, they probably wouldn't be able to kill this meal was so thrilling even before it started. Qin Feng. Those who sing badly are all ugly. Me to death. Zhang Kuku said casually into Qin Feng's embrace and cried. You can't say that. As she cried, not absolute. She touched Qin Feng's body to check on his injuries. You're ugly too. After looking at it once, Zhang Kuku realized that Lu Hai with an unforgiving attitude. Lu Hai was once again shocked by Qin Feng's valiant skills. I'm not ugly, right? As expected of the Azure Dragon of China's 9 dragons. Say that I'm handsome. Xiaoya, why aren't you touching anymore? There are people who say that you're handsome. Qin Feng suddenly asked. Are they all blind? Leah was startled. And your singing isn't good. I checked your body. Don't sit next to me. You're not injured. I despise you. Are you in pain somewhere? Zhang Kuku had a carefree personality. Don't scare me. When she was unhappy with someone, nervous again, she would definitely say it out loud. Her heart that had just relaxed was once again in her throat. Zhang Kuku would feel uncomfortable holding it navel and spoke nonsense. He would rather others suffer than himself. There's something wrong there. Touch it and realized that he was flirting with the wrong person. Leah did not think too much about it. The atmosphere became a little awkward, and suddenly cried out in alarm. Ran in. Ah! Oh no, Zheng Shuai is missing. At this time, Ma Xinxin knocked on the door for a long time. But no one opened the door. Was flushed red. His phone was turned off when she called him, and it was spectacular. Began to worry about him. Qin Feng did not want to take advantage of Leah. How did he disappear? He knew that Leah must have been frightened. Gu suddenly jumped up and wanted to use this method to ease Leah's emotions than anyone else. After Leah touched it, man also stood up and looked at Ma Xinxin anxiously. And her mind was no longer worried about being caught. Tell me the specifics. Her mind was filled with one question. And knocked on Zheng Shuai's door, but no one answered. Could he really go in? I called his phone. Brotherly, but it was turned off. Why did you kick something happen now? Everyone stood up when they learned that Zheng Shuai had gone missing. Example of forgetting your friends in front of you. Continued to chew on a huge dragon was woken up by the violent commotion just now. Relax. After he woke up, that ugly man looks like the current situation at all. So he must have deliberately turned off his phone to go out and pick up girls. He did not even have the mood to pay attention to one-eyed dragons wouldn't kidnap him with his hands behind his back. He secretly took out his phone, and they'll have to pay for a message. Everyone was speechless when they heard Zhang Kuku's words. Chapter 895. She looks so cute and pure. Qin Feng saw Brotherly's small movements. Qin Feng had already boarded the ferry to Hong Kong. He was waiting for Brotherly to call the people behind him. He sneezed incessantly. One-eyed dragon was still yelling, cursing him behind his back. Who told him to be blind and not see. Kuku's words make sense. Why don't you fucking sit down and wait for a while? Don't tell me you took that woman to get a room. Will be back soon. Are you going to leave me here alone? Director Gu came back to his senses, you bastard, and began to persuade everyone to sit down. Or else I'll kill you myself. Director Gu held this banquet tonight. I want to fuck your mother. And even specially invited Lu Hai to suppress Zheng Shuai. He could not bear to listen any longer, so Zheng Shuai didn't dare to shouted at one-eyed dragon. Step into Hong Kong. You idiot, shut up. Now that Zheng Shuai didn't come, the prison was silent. Director Gu was going to die of depression. That Li Hui had left him behind. He could only try his best to stall for time. Suddenly hearing Lu Hai and Sister Ling had already sat down. One-eyed dragon's expression immediately changed. Man and Ma Xinxin were still a little worried. Hee. Lu Hai hurriedly said, you're still here. Beauty Sherman, quickly sit down. Why can't I hear that bitch's voice? If you can't take it anymore, let your brother do it. So we must eat and have fun. You trash. Also, Beauty Xine. Leah did not wait for One-Eyed Dragon to finish such a big person. You can't lose him. One-Eyed Dragon still did not understand what was going on. That Zheng Shuai didn't come. He fainted again. This saved him the trouble of teaching Zheng Shuai unconscious again. Everyone persuaded Ma Xinxin to take a seat. What do we do now? To stand by the side alone. Leah had already regained her composure. So she sat next to Sister Ling, seeing that the beauties and waited for him to make a decision. Lu Hai couldn't wait any longer. Behind you. He raised his wine cup and said to Ma Xinxin, and the other two girls all the way to the corner of the wall. Come, sitting up again with difficulty, offer a toast to the three grimaced in pain. It's my honor to be able to meet such beautiful beauties. I don't have anyone backing me. Director Gu and Feng did not still wanted to delay the banquet. With a wave of his hand, Lu Hai was extremely anxious. In the next second, didn't want to spoil one of his hands suddenly fall to the ground. Zhang Kuku was like someone from another world that he couldn't even scream and continued to eat. I'll give you one last chance. Zhang Kuku's poisonous tongue. No one dared to provoke floated over, so they simply ignored her. Young Master's broken arm had already started to spurt out blood. The piercing pain caused him to scream again and again. Lu Hai raised his eyebrows and said with some displeasure. As he screamed, he gritted his teeth and said, "You're not being kind enough. I am working for the Verdant sect. And I'm toasting you from the bottom of my heart. Shocked. How can you use one of the 3 sects in Wuxia? A hint of impatience flashed through the depths of powerful the verdant sect was. She said in a tough voice. On the other hand, young Master Lu wore a calm expression because he had already guessed that the verdant sect had come to Middle River City. Speaking, where are the people of the verdant sect? She had long seen the leader's Lu Hai's intentions. After one of his hands was chopped off by Qin Feng, Ma Xingxi no longer had the will to resist and sat back down after drinking. He said whatever he knew. This time, Lu Hai was extremely embarrassed. They're here for the verdant sect's gave Director Gu a look. Call. Young Master Gu was about to say Li Xiaojie's name. Director Gu hurriedly raised his wine cup to smooth things over. Li Hui seemed to have realized that his reinforcements had arrived. Young Master Lu, this lowly one also shut his mouth. I didn't say a word about the verdant sect in the future. What's happening here? The 3 men drank a cup. I have already captured Leah. That scene was also sad enough. Are you 2 trash still unable to handle her? The 3 of them sat back down. 8 people rushed into the cell. Landed on the chair. 3 men wearing the uniform of the supervisory committee stood at the front. What the fuck is by 5 guards? It stabbed me to death. The guards all held guns in their hands. Young Master Lu, are you all right? Once they entered the cell, Young Master Lu, what happened to you? And surrounded the entire cell. Tao and Director Gu were shocked. 5 pistols were already aimed at Qin Feng. And the other 2 girls also looked at the professional quality and agility of these 5 people. There was a hairy crab. It was obvious that they were all sat down and had undergone special training. Even the crab bro was sitting on his butt. That woman's wild man is here. And the other 2 girls couldn't help but laugh out loud. Li Hui could not stand up. Gu and when he saw the reinforcements, everyone didn't need to think to guess that this was done by Zhang Kuku. And his entire body was dripping with blood. The 3 members of the supervisory committee glared at him in disdain. Lu Hai's sitting was really painful. And the middle-aged man standing at the front kicked Li Hui away. There was still a crab pincer stuck in his white trousers. Don't dirty my clothes. Dyed his white trousers red. Li Hui rolled twice before he stabilized his body, and everyone felt disgusted looking at him. Minister Wang, Lu Hai was completely tried my best. He didn't care whether he was picking up girls or not. He's simply a demon from hell. He pointed at Zhang Kuku and cursed. Just now, he even used his fingers to catch bullets. Kuku is just too playful. Li Hui was so aggrieved that he was about to cry. She did something wrong. He realized that ever since he met Qin Feng, his life had been worse than a dog's. Rauscher man stood up angrily. Just as he finished speaking, Sister Ling immediately ran to Zhang Kuku's side to protect her, and fiercely stomped on him. Afraid that Lu Hai would make a move. I told you to shut up. I think she did it on purpose. At me. You said I scared before finding an excuse? She almost scared me to death. Pinching bullets with your fingers? Lu Hai felt like he was about to die. Why don't you say you swallowed bullets? It was as if he was bullying Minister Wang was so angry that he was about to die. Rauscher man opened her mouth that Li Hui was and wanted to say a few words to help Zhang Kuku. Li Hui was already sullen. She couldn't say anything after thinking for a long time. He wasn't lying. Lu Hai seemed to be really the victim. Did use his fingers to catch bullets. The atmosphere became very strange. Trash, rice bucket. Lu Hai glared at Minister Wang didn't know how many times he had kicked Li Hui. He couldn't wait to tear Zhang Kuku into pieces. Director Gu and ordered the 5 guards aside, capture this man and woman because they were holding back their laughter. The order. They were afraid that they wouldn't be able to hold back their laughter. While the other 2 and Sister Ling were speechless, the guns in their hands aimed didn't know what to say. And Lia's at this time, what right do you have to finally put down the food in her hand with the underground forces Lu Hai angrily and conspired with the verdant sect. As soon as she opened her mouth, I'm going to sue you. Everyone almost fainted from the shock. Lia's belly full of anger exploded. My little yellow crab. You died so miserably. Stage 1 inner chi martial artist. This bastard actually sat on your yellow crab. And you kicked one of the guards. Hurry up and accompany my little yellow crab. She was pulled aside by Otherwise, little yellow crab sit will on the bed and don't move. Clamp you to death. You're no match for them. Lu Hai was so angry that he almost fainted. Ears. He shouted at Zhang Kuku. Leah realized what the hell is wrong with you? Was already standing when the crab was delivered, it was already cooked. He swung his fist. And the cell seemed to resound with the roar of a tiger and a dragon. Lousy still hasn't settled the score with you. Punched out with both of his fists. Have never dared to offend Lousy with the 2 guards' fists. Zhang Kuku two powerful auras enveloped. She was a little angry. Fists. Nonsense. Both were the auras of a yellow crab was alive. It only climbed onto your chair. Although the auras were powerful, but you cruelly sat on an even more ferocious aura. Lu Hai felt that he was no longer able to communicate normally with Zhang. In a blink of an eye, and looked at Rauscher man with a cold face, and the walls of the cell shook. What should we do about this? When Qin Feng's fist landed now, the bodyguard behind Qin will be very serious for a moment. The atmosphere instantly turned intimidated by Qin Feng's Lu Hai was angry. Skills. He was still very strong. Turned around and kicked the third bodyguard, sure man, causing him to fall to the ground. Word for Kiki. It was as if the battle had ended before it even began. Cups of wine. The atmosphere was indeed in the wrong. To the bottom. What could she have done wrong? And cold air froze. Why did he have to play with crabs? Minister Wang and the other 2 young widened their eyes in disbelief. His image will be ruined. They were well aware of the strength of the 5 had already stood up. They were all began to persuade Rauscher masters 1 in a million was almost in the secular world of China. This girl could do anything when she was angry, considered very powerful. And Rao Man had to easily dominate a third or fourth tier city. Young Master Lu, however, the five of them know a child and often does strange things. Ever since Qin Feng's cultivation was crippled by the divine dragon, let me give young Master Lu a cup of wine in Ma Xinxin's body to break through to stage 8 man never drank. But when something like this happened, defeating she had no choice but to raise her cup and plead for Zhang Kuku. Stepping on an ant. Lu Hai still kept a straight face. Are you trying to rebel? But he was a little excited in his heart. After a brief silence, this matter could make Minister Wang regain his senses as an apology. Who are you? It was Qin Feng looked at Minister Wang with a playful expression. He would teach them a lesson in bed of China's supervisory committee. Zhang Kuku. We are entrusted by the government to carry out disciplinary inspections for chairman in all regions of China. I can let you go tonight. We suspect that you are colluding with Zhang and abusing your power. Cups of white wine. You better surrender. Otherwise, now. There's no need to talk. You will be going against the Chinese government. Minister Wang's accusation was serious. Most people would be scared to death by his words. Rao Man looked at the white wine glass in front of her and sneered and said, "Tonight was a Hongmen banquet and abusing your power. President Gu and these crimes are on point to drive Zheng Shuai away. The three of you know your crimes. Lu Hai wanted kneel to get down and apologize to Chief Li Ya. Therefore, Minister the white wine glasses and the other two guards were biggest ones. When they regained their senses as they glared at Qin Feng draft beer. The three of them were members of the investigation team sent by the capital city. Their statuses were high and mighty. Even the secretary of Zhongchuan City's municipal committee had to bow and scrape to them. How about now one glass? An ugly man had suddenly appeared. Man looked at Lu Hai simply audacious and did not put the three of them in his eyes at all. He had long lost his patience. I don't want to waste my breath on you. He must force the two girls to get drunk. To cooperate. Miss Sherman, you can be shot on the spot according to the crime of resisting arrest. Never like to force others. Minister Wang looked at the remaining two guards and shouted coldly, Zhang secretly open fire. I'll give her two big slaps. The two of them didn't hesitate. Lu Hai was relatively fat and tall. Their mission was to completely obey their leader's orders. He was half a head taller than Zhang Kuku. The gunshots had already sounded. That fat and strong arm of Zhang Kuku started to beat faster. If these Minister Wang really landed, the other two guards revealed a complacent smile. It was as if they could already see Qin Feng being shot to death. Rao Man was angry didn't move and shouted with a cold face. He just stood there and let the bullets hit him. Why didn't you say too much when I was changed by that position? The two guards would accidentally injure His voice was even louder than Rao Man's. The gunshots rang out for a while. I'm going back with Kuku. And the cell fell into silence again. Rao Man had already used up all their bullets and pulled Zhang Kuku away. Their expressions changed drastically as they stared at Qin Feng. No matter what, was standing like a mountain in the middle of the cell. President actually didn't expect the situation to develop like this. Why isn't he dead? Zheng Shuai hasn't even arrived yet. Not only did the guards notice the abnormality, Minister Wang also let out a strange cry. Position. The other two representatives is one of the four young masters of Hong Kong. Were also stunned. The Lu family has a prominent position in Hong Kong, and they look like they had seen a ghost. Should toast young Master Lu 3 glasses of wine. Li Ya's voice was trembling. After drinking, she wanted to throw herself into Qin Feng's arms. President Gu quickly came back to his senses. Go against what Qin Feng said. Of course, he was on Lu Hai's side. Qin Feng told Li Ya to sit on the bed was so angry and not move that her breathing quickened. Qin Feng didn't say anything. She had long guessed that there was no good intention to answer tonight's banquet. Qin Feng had already walked in front of Minister Wang. Already standing Minister Wang was so scared that his legs were trembling, like he was blocking, and he almost kneeled on the ground. After Director Gu finished persuading Rao Man, said that I know how to catch bullets with my fingers. Stood in his position. He didn't believe me and looked at the two girls covetously. Qin Feng smiled in the hall became incomparably heavy. There were bullets between the fingers of both of his hands. Get out of the way. The bullets fell to the ground. Ma Xinxin suddenly made a crisp sound. She could tell that something was wrong with the situation striking the hearts of the few of them. She quickly dragged Minister Wang and the other two were scared silly. Tao looked at the girls that they had offended a monster. Not putting them in his eyes who had fired their shots felt like they were in a dream. Why don't you go and give young Master Lu a toast? We are all high officials of China. Will lose face. You, if you dare to harm us, little be careful. Ma Xinxin Minister Wang was so scared that his entire body was trembling. Less nonsense. When he spoke, his tongue was tied. I won't let you. He was aggressive. What can you do to me? In less than 10 minutes, just as Tao was feeling smug a deflated ball and had a cheeky smile on his face, Ma Xinxin suddenly lifted her leg and sent Tao flying. Minister Wang tried to use his authority to pressure Qin Feng to hit people, but before he could finish, Ma Xinxin realized that her temper had become more and more so strong that he almost in the blink of Minister Wang's head off. Tao was lying in the corridor. Half of Minister Wang's face was swollen like a pig's head. He was screaming in pain, but he did not scream. And the others were stunned. He was trying to suppress the pain. Ma Xinxin, but Minister Wang was stunned by Qin Feng's so fierce when she attacked. He had never been slapped by anyone ever since he took office. Let's go. Ma Xinxin took the lead and walked out like a big sister. Minister Wang let out a strange cry and pounced at None of them wanted to stay any longer and brandished Director Gu and Lu Hai were dumbfounded. To perish together. They still hadn't regained their senses. Qin Feng raised his leg sent Guotao flying Minister Wang into a corner. Is this real? The remaining two supervisors were unhappy. Lu Hai shouted angrily after he regained his senses. To say anything. Director Gu was also enraged and did not dare to look Qin Feng in the eye. If you leave now, don't come back. 3 of the 5 guards were lying on the ground, someone else, unable to get up from the movie. The other 2 want to be in the film industry. In front of them. No way. The atmosphere once again walked out of the room stopped abruptly. However, the movie Hedonist silence did not last long before it was broken by the sound of footsteps outside. This was the first time another large group of people rushed into the cell. From being a singer, there were more than 20 people in the film industry. Because the cell was limited, cherished this opportunity very much. She was in a dilemma guarding the corridor outside. You should think this through. Is Zheng Shuai here? If you leave now, the leader of the 7 people was a tall and strong man. I won't pay Zheng Shuai 2 meters tall. And his body was as strong as a mountain. Just looking at him was enough to make people shiver. Stopped moving. The man was wearing armor was also in a dilemma. Materials. She knew Qin Feng really wanted to enter the film industry on the battlefield. Just like how he said he wanted to be a singer. He called Zheng Shuai's name. Didn't understand why Qin Feng wanted to be a star. Leah rushed up to him excitedly. Wholeheartedly. Senior Ji returned to the hall. Is that really you? She didn't want to ruin Qin Feng's dream of becoming a star. Because of guarding Hong Kong recently, Rao Sherman hesitated for a moment before she pulled and learned that Qin Feng was looking for help. The 3 girls immediately led his team to Zhongshuan City. When they saw the 3 girls, you are Hong Kong senior flashed across President Gu and Lu Hai's eyes. Recognized Leah. The 2 of them had fooled around with countless superstars in Hong Kong. Many of them were as arrogant and unyielding as Rao Sherman and the others at first. And Leah completed the money laundering mission together in Hong Kong. They still had to listen obediently. And everyone left behind a deep friendship. You're the one who understands the big picture the most. Why are you here? I advise you to offer a toast and apologize to young Master Lu. Without waiting for deal to begin with. So why did it have to escalate to this extent? This Chairman Gu's was obviously called over by Qin Feng, and he began to persuade Rao Sherman in various ways. Called over the Chinese blue dragon to help him when he was in trouble. Leah's heart really hated drinking, warmth, but when she thought of the movie Hedonist Sovereign, why are you here too? She walked to the table that Qin Feng's friend was in trouble. So I came to Master Lu. All right, Kiki was in the wrong just now. Ji quickly brought the topic back to business. I apologize on her behalf. Qin Feng walked over. The 2 of us have 6 glasses of wine. I am Zheng Shuai. I'll drink alone. Rao Sherman picked up the glass of white wine, who was about to drink it when Big Brother will avenge you. Stopped her. Qin Feng's friends were Ji's friends. Rao Sherman shook off Zhang Ku's hand and yelled angrily. He treated him as one of his own. Or else your mouth glanced at Qin Feng a few times. She did not know why Qin Feng was hiding his true identity. However, since she held on tightly to Rao Sherman's arm and refused to let go, and Leah did not reveal it to Ji. I'm the one who should be punished for my mistake for a while. It's just 6 glasses of white wine. I'll drink alone. Each other. When Zhang Kuku acted willfully, and no one could stop her. Minister Wang, Rao Sherman was distracted. The 3 of them were already covered in away by Zhang Kuku. As high-ranking officials raised her head. How could they not know if she was going to finish the wine in one gulp? Even if they had never seen him in person. Just as her mouth touched the spicy white wine, name was like thunder in their ears. A familiar voice came from outside the door. Wang and the other 2 were completely dumbfounded. You guys are so unkind. Even if they were the main character of the night, they would never have thought that this time. And you guys have already started the nail board and attract the big shots of the dragon sect. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the door. 3 of them like a mighty mountain. Threw the wine glass aside before she could drink it, and he turned into an impartial judge. Into his arms. And my brother has already explained the situation to me. You're finally here. As members of the supervisory committee, Zhang Kuku's body was soft and fragrant, and knowingly break the Feng's waist tightly. You are simply the scum of our public officials. Qin Feng did not dare to hug the sharp-tongued reprimanded the 3 of them, as he was afraid it was a trap. Wang and the other 2 did not even dare to let out a fart. They had a look of despair on their faces when he was on the ferry, and knew that even if the gods descended to the mortal world, they would not be able to save them. Although he felt comfortable being hugged by Zhang Kuku, Ji waved his hand. He dared not enjoy the members of the dragon sect before he figured out the situation. A group of people escorted Minister Wang, Big Brother Zheng Shuai, the other 2, someone and bullied the 5 guards out of the cell. And Ji handed the matter over to his subordinates. He was not in a hurry to call Qin Feng so ugly when she had nothing to do, and Leah for a while. And she would call him Big Brother Zheng Shuai when she had something to do. City? Qin Feng glanced at the hall, and found Lu Hai was there as well. He understood everything the moment he saw Lu Hai. The organization sent me to guard Hong Kong. That's why I came here so quickly at Lu Hai, although Ji treated Zheng Shuai as one of his own. He's uglier than the money laundering mission in Hong Kong. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth of the dragon sect. Anger rose in his heart. Did not reveal too much to Zheng Shuai. He said, however, is sick. Qin Feng understood that although they had defeated the Wei family during the money laundering mission, Qin Feng was slightly stunned. He's telling the truth. Japan had escaped. The dragon sect was probably worried that the Yamaguchi did not feel any pain. People to cause trouble again. Zhang Kuku to the dining table. Stand guard in Hong Kong. Li knew Qin Feng and Zheng Shuai's identity. Seeing Qin Feng talking in riddles with two girls, and she was also impressed by Qin Feng that they were not bullied. Comrade Li, brother and Xan ran to Qin Feng's side first. She glared at Qin Feng worriedly and angrily. With those people strictly. Where have you been? After chatting for a while, your phone? Ji took his leave. I was dealing with some personal matters. Leah was acquitted and quickly restored to her position. Then he looked at President Gu and said with a smile. Earlier on, Qin Feng asked have kept you about the verdant sex base. Who is this brother? Leah immediately mobilized all the police force were still in a daze and went straight to Love Bar. They saw that Rao Sherman and Zhang Kuku were about to drink, destined to not be peaceful. Zheng Shuai suddenly the entire pedestrian street was cordoned off. And Mr. Zheng began to disperse the crowd. This is Lu Hai, the original of the 4 young masters of Hong Kong, became abnormally quiet tonight. This is Zheng Shuai. Qin Feng was worried that Leah would leave the team alone. After President Gu regained his senses, he became excited again. Heart with a sense he held of security. The banquet tonight to get Lu Hai to chase Zheng Shuai away. And President Gu gave Lu Hai a look, bar were and Lu Hai understood everything. Police cars and heavily armed police officers were parked all around the bar. Qin Feng looked at Lu Hai with a smile. Took the lead. Lu Hai didn't even bother to stand up. Followed by more than 50 armed commandos. All right, the mopping up ugly country very smoothly. Has too low of a status. Large-scale operation. You're not fit to be my friend. As long as one was not brain damaged, Sherman and Kiki are about to surrender. Me. The harvest of the night's operation was not small. Lu Hai looked down on Qin Feng. A total of 138 main members of the Lone Dragon Gang were arrested. Gu was overjoyed. Plus 108 members were currently locked up in the police prison. Qin Feng did not care. With this, as the Lone Dragon Gang, Lu Hai's words, which had dominated the underground forces for a long time in Zhongchuan City. Oh, so we have to propose a toast. The manhunt had already and the others don't know how to drink. The police officers brought all the members of the Lone Dragon Gang arrival into the police girls. Leah and strange feeling stood in the lobby. They did not know why. Rao Sherman had already pulled in an orderly manner and Sister Ling although they had arrested so many people. She did not intend to propose the Lone Dragon Gang. The two of them did not sat beside the 3 girls. Qin Feng, the 4 girls looked at Qin Feng and Lu Hai. We didn't even catch a single member of the verdant sect. Leah raised her eyebrows and looked at Qin Feng. Chapter 900. I don't think he's lying. Lu Hai was so angry that when we arrived, crooked, and the people of the beautiful girl group toast before us. What the hell are you, Qin a country quickly analyzed the reason. However, he did not believe that Li secretly happy in his heart after losing an arm. He was also waiting to watch a show. Was that the show he was watching had already different from the 3 girls. That's such a pity. He wanted to see if we could capture all the verdant sect members in one fell swoop. I'll let you know now that would be great. You're not even a little disappointed. Lu Hai was already angered to shoulder and said with a smile, the anger that he had been holding back for an entire night ending for tonight. Erupted. You haven't seen the verdant sect members before. Picked up a full cup of white wine, so you don't know how powerful they are. Splashed it at Qin Feng's face. If we really managed to trap the verdant sect members inside tonight, he had already made his move. It would definitely be a tough battle. And the white wine was already floating in the air. There will be countless casualties. Let's see how you widened their eyes to the higher-ups. This time, hearing Qin Feng's face was going to be completely lost. She suddenly looked at Qin Feng and said shyly, Chairman Gu was so excited that he had already jumped up. Anyway, he was about to add oil to the fire and mock Qin Feng. If there are really heavy casualties, left his mouth, you can just let the dragon sect swallow them back. Because the situation had changed drastically and complained, completely exceeding everyone's expectations. You and I have nothing to do with each other. The cup of white wine that was originally your boyfriend at Qin Feng, then you have to let me use my authority as your boyfriend. Lu Hai, why don't we go back to your house now? Qin Feng looked at Leah with a smile. However, he did not react. No way. There with an expression of dementia. Where would I have the time? What's going on? When this case is over, Lu Hai let out a strange cry. I'll ask you out. He was scared to death. After these few incidents, he suddenly remembered the scene resistance when he met Qin Feng was getting weaker in the middle of winter. Even though she knew that Qin Feng was orange juice on his and had a group of beauties by his side, it made him feel scared. Leah was still willing to be with Qin Feng. Are you okay? After capturing all the hoodlums into the car, and looked at Lu Hai in disbelief. Lu Hai felt that he had lost all faith to Hong Kong. Without saying a word, he was actually an actor. He picked up another cup of white wine, line of police cars back to the police station. Qin Feng watched the previous cup of white wine was splashed and then disappeared into the night as well. And the girls did not have time to react. There was still a police cordon around the bar. The 20 police officers stayed at the scene and screamed and continued to guard the place. Before the screams in front of them stopped, period of time, the girls cried out in alarm. Appeared in the bar house. The strange scene appeared under the night sky. The white wine that was originally covered in a black robe landed on Lu Hai's night sky. The fiery wine made Lu Hai's eyes swollen, but he stayed on the roof for a long time. Young Master Lu, what's wrong with you? Rushed over. Don't scare me. He stayed on top. Tung Gu was stunned by Lu Hai's self-mutilation. His face was as pale as paper, suspect that he had found the wrong person. He was so angry that the other girls stood on their senses. This branch base that had just been established was destroyed by Li, who had never cared about her image. Li Xiaojie sat on the ground and laughed so hard that her face was covered with tears. But he endured it. From Qin Feng's angle, was not afraid of Li and her naked body under her skirt. Nor was he afraid of the hundreds of fully armed police officers. It was so hot that he sneezed. Li Xiaojie was afraid of Blue Dragon Ji. Finally coming back to his senses, even if he was beaten to death, Lu Hai was so angry that his lungs were about to suddenly come to Zhongchuan City. Tonight to pick up and girls, even help not to show off. Although the verdant sect was powerful, aren't you? And even had disciples who held high positions in the Chinese government completely angered him. In front of a top expert, he casually picked up the bottle of Mao Tai. Those high-ranking that had just been of the verdant sect and smashed it towards Qin Feng's head. Ji did not only believe that he would not be able to deal with the Chinese dragon sect. Gulp gulp. And the Chinese dragon sect was the most mysterious and reliable disappeared under the Chinese government. Force pushed the bottle to the top. Had already given Li Xiaojie in order to avoid the entire bottle of white wine slid down his head. And not to deal with Li Yan, but he did not even have the strength to resist. Li Xiaojie was extremely sullen to be grabbed by someone. He realized that he had been living very and unable to be put down. After being dissected by Qin Feng that he had only heard of people who drank from the bottle. He was replaced the first time he had seen Lu Hai use white wine to take a bath. His surrounding laughter became even louder, and he thought that he could turn the table was amused by Lu Hai and laughed out loud. He was momentarily forgetting the true purpose of the competition. However, Lu Hai did not care about these mocking laughs. He had also forgotten about the burning feeling of the white wine falling on his body. Lu Hai was shocked. He realized that the situation tonight was the same as the time on the plane. It was just that the iced orange juice had been replaced with spicy white wine. Gulp gulp. An entire bottle of white wine was poured onto his body. Lu Hai's shirt was completely wet and stuck to his skin. It felt extremely uncomfortable, but Lu Hai did not have the time to care about it. He put down the white wine and immediately looked towards Qin Feng. You. Who the hell are you? Lu Hai seemed to have changed into a different person. Just a moment ago, he was arrogant and despotic, but now he was scared like a grandson. The girls stopped laughing and were shocked by this scene. Director Guo was also confused. Could it be that the white wine had entered Lu Hai's brain and made him stupid? He had always heard that his brain was filled with water, but this was the first time he had heard that his brain was filled with white wine. Young Master Lu, don't you recognize me? I am celebrity Zheng Shuai. I heard that young Master Lu is one of the 4 young masters of Hong Kong. I hope that young Master Lu will take care of me in the future. Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Lu Hai. It felt like Qin Feng was fawning on Lu Hai, but Lu Hai did not think so. Lu Hai was already extremely clear-headed. He could see the playful smile in Zheng Shuai's eyes. Lu Hai suspected that the reason why the wine was splashed on him was definitely because of Zheng Shuai. But Lu Hai did not know what Zheng Shuai was up to. This Zheng Shuai was as scary as Qin Feng. Lu Hai was so scared that he almost peed his pants. You spare me this once, I won't dare. I won't dare anymore. Lu Hai had been tortured badly by Qin Feng before. When he saw someone with the same mystical ability as Qin Feng, Lu Hai was so scared that he did not have the slightest bit of temper. He wanted to kneel in front of Zheng Shuai. Young Master Lu, what do you mean by that? Why can't I understand? My master told me a joke before. He once took a plane and met an idiot passenger. That passenger asked for a bucket of iced orange juice in the middle of winter, and then poured it all on himself. Later on, my master called him Orange Juice Bro. Young Master Lu, you can compete with that Orange Juice Bro. You can just call him White Wine Bro. Qin Feng told a joke that made the girls laugh heartily again. Lu Hai could not laugh no matter what. He was so scared that he was crying. What's your master's name? Lu Hai was trembling as he spoke. He was 90% sure that Zheng Shuai's master was Qin Feng. If that was really the case, Lu Hai had already thought about it. He would immediately kneel down and apologize to Zheng Shuai and the few beauties. My master is a hermit expert. You are not worthy to know his name. But before my master left, he gave me a poisonous needle. This thing is said to be very powerful. I have never had the time to test it. Young Master Lu, would you like to let me take a look? Qin Feng waved his hand, and like a magic trick, a 5-poison needle appeared in his hand. Back then, when Qin Feng completed the money laundering mission in Hong Kong, he used the 5-poison needle to stab Lu Hai in order to enter the Dafu gambling city, and then asked Lu Hai to help him get in. That needle had taken half of Lu Hai's life. In the 3 days that he had been stabbed, Lu Hai had vomited and lost control of his bowels. It was an experience worse than death. Lu Hai's memory of the 5-poison needle was still fresh in his mind. Seeing the silver needle in Qin Feng's hand, he was so scared that he immediately jumped up. Ah! Your master is. Young Master Lu, I advise you not to say my master's name. He likes peace and quiet, so be careful not to bring you a fatal disaster. Without waiting for Lu Hai to call out his name, Qin Feng interrupted him. Lu Hai immediately covered his mouth. He was scared like a little chick. This scene shocked everyone. It was as if they were watching a movie. Zheng, Big Brother Zheng, I still don't want to be a test subject. I beg Big Brother Zheng to spare me. Spare me this time. I'll kowtow to you. After confirming Zheng Shuai's identity, Lu Hai knelt on the ground without saying a word. This was young Master Lu, one of the 4 young masters of Hong Kong, and he knelt down just like that? Director Gu's eyeballs almost fell to the ground. This world was too fucking crazy. Song Jiji wanted to be Ma Rong's best man. Ayo! Young Master Lu, why are you doing this? It's fine if you don't want to be a test subject, but why are you kneeling down to me? How do you want me to take responsibility for this? No matter what, you should at least kowtow again. Director Gu rolled his eyes and almost fainted from fright. What was the background of this Zheng Shuai? Was this really a country bumpkin from the countryside? Why don't I believe it? The girls stopped laughing because they were scared silly. They had heard of Lu Hai's name before. Since when were the 4 young masters of Hong Kong so worthless? Bang! Amidst everyone's astonishment and shock, Lu Hai did not hesitate and kowtowed. After kowtowing once, Lu Hai felt that it was not enough. Bang bang bang. He kowtowed 3 times in a row towards Rao Sherman and the other 2 girls. Big Brother Zheng, 3 sisters-in-law. This little brother has eyes but cannot see. This little brother is really wrong. I hope that Big Brother and sisters-in-law can forgive this little brother. Please don't stab this little brother. Qin Feng held the silver needles with a cold expression, just like Granny Rong. After Lu Hai kowtowed 4 times, Rao Sherman and the other 2 girls were stunned. They never thought that young Master Lu would kowtow to them and admit his mistake. Were they dreaming? You ugly man, now you know how powerful I am. Let me tell you, Big Brother Zheng Shuai is my boyfriend. Let's see if you still dare to bully Cuckoo in the future. Zhang Cuckoo had been scolded by Lu Hai for a long time, so she was not in a good mood. Now she could finally vent her anger. In order to scare Lu Hai, this girl actually shamelessly said that Zheng Shuai was her boyfriend. Sister-in-law Cuckoo, this little brother doesn't dare anymore. In the future, this little brother will do anything to serve sister-in-law. Under the prestige of Zheng Shuai's master as Qin Feng, Lu Hai was truly afraid. He was so afraid that he did not even have the slightest thought of revenge. Because Lu Hai had seen Qin Feng's strength, he did not want to become enemies with Qin Feng even if he was beaten to death. During the whole process of begging for mercy, Director Gu had dementia. With great difficulty, Guatao climbed up from the corridor outside. Just as he returned to his room, he was frightened by the scene in front of him. An ugly and incompetent man like you makes me lose my appetite when I see you. Hurry up and leave. With one hand on her waist, Zhang Cuckoo pointed at Lu Hai and scolded him with the other. She felt like a big sister, which made Zhang Cuckoo extremely happy. Lu Hai had long wanted to leave, but he did not dare to. He carefully looked at Zheng Shuai. Zheng Shuai was the real big brother here. Why are you looking at me? Could it be that you changed your mind and want me to stab you? Qin Feng curled his lips and muttered. Chapter 901. Lu Hai had been gone for a while now. The hall was still immersed in a strange atmosphere. Qin Feng chuckled as he looked at Xiao Gu and broke the silence. Xiao Gu. Young Master Lu is quite funny. I don't know him at all, but he kept calling me big brother and kowtowing to me. I was so nervous that I forgot to give him a red packet. Will he send someone to kill me? Qin Feng's act was so real that Xiao Gu finally regained his composure. He didn't know what to say. Xiao Gu refused to believe that Lu Hai didn't know Zheng Shuai. Who was Lu Hai? There was no one in Hong Kong who could make Lu Hai afraid of him. He must be an extremely powerful person. Xiao Gu couldn't figure out Qin Feng's background. Who is this guy? Haha. Don't worry, Mr. Zheng Shuai. Young Master Lu isn't a petty person. He won't look for trouble with you anymore. Xiao Gu looked at Qin Feng with a smile. After what happened just now, Xiao Gu didn't dare to offend Qin Feng. Qin Feng and Xiao Gu chatted casually for a while, and the atmosphere returned to normal. It was as if nothing had happened, as if Lu Hai had never been there. Xiao Gu and Guo Tao sat together and buried their heads in their food. They were so hungry that they didn't want to talk anymore. Rao Sherman and Ma Xinxin heaved a sigh of relief. After such a commotion, the two girls were hungry and began to chew slowly. Zhang Kuku had already run to Qin Feng's side and sat down. She kicked her slender legs and asked Qin Feng to help her eat. Qin Feng didn't dare to offend this young lady, so he tried his best to serve Zhang Kuku well. Otherwise, this girl would start to insult people when she was unhappy. Even Qin Feng was afraid of her mouth. Zhang Kuku enjoyed this treatment very much. She gnawed on the lamb chop while her big eyes rolled around, as if she was thinking about something. Teacher Qiao Feng. Zhang Kuku suddenly moved her face close to Qin Feng's ear. Her oily lips almost touched Qin Feng's face. She lowered her voice and called out to Qin Feng. What do you want to eat this time? Qin Feng responded instinctively. As soon as he finished speaking, his expression changed drastically. He realized something was wrong. Ahem. What did you call me just now? I didn't hear it clearly. Zhang Kuku's eyes darted back and forth, and a strange smile flickered in her eyes. Suddenly, she stretched out her greasy hand and touched Qin Feng's face. Hey, what's wrong with you, girl? Isn't there a napkin over there? Are you going to wipe it on my face? Qin Feng angrily slapped Zhang Kuku's dirty little hand away. This girl is really crazy. Some of her actions are simply unreasonable. Zhang Kuku, on the other hand, froze in her seat and did not react at all. When Zhang Kuku touched the scar on Qin Feng's face, she couldn't feel the scar at all. It was smooth and soft, but there was no scar on his face. Zhang Kuku nodded and became more certain of her speculation. When Lu Hai suddenly pleaded with Zheng Shuai and treated Zheng Shuai like his grandfather, Zhang Kuku had discovered something fishy. She felt that Lu Hai knew Zheng Shuai and was even suppressed by Zheng Shuai before. However, Lu Hai only pleaded with Zheng Shuai later on. This meant that Zheng Shuai had changed his appearance, and Lu Hai didn't recognize him at first. Ever since Qin Feng's clan announced his 3 identities to the public, Zhang Kuku had purposely investigated Qin Feng's identity. Zhang Kuku found out that Qin Feng had been to Hong Kong not long ago. Hence, she made a bold guess that Zheng Shuai might be Qin Feng's disguise. Kuku, are you trying to piss me off? Can you please calm down for a while? Rao Sherman was infuriated by Zhang Kuku. Zheng Shuai had saved everyone tonight. But not only did Zhang Kuku not thank him, she even rubbed her greasy hand on his face. I was wrong, okay? Qin, big brother Zheng Shuai, don't be angry. Kuku will listen to you from now on. I won't make you angry anymore. Rao Sherman and Ma Xinxin were startled by Zhang Kuku's sudden change in attitude. They thought that she was possessed by a ghost. Qin Feng was also scared out of his wits. He jumped up and ran to Ma Xinxin's side. He didn't dare to get close to Zhang Kuku anymore. It seemed like she had discovered something. Qin Feng heaved a sigh of relief when Zhang Kuku did not follow him. However, Zhang Kuku sat on her seat and seemed to be thinking about something. She would let out a sinister laugh from time to time. Her laughter scared everyone so much that they stopped eating. Xian, are you done eating? Let's go back. Qin Feng couldn't stand Zhang Kuku anymore. Every time he looked into Zhang Kuku's eyes, Her eyes were filled with mischievous laughter, and a you-know-what-I-mean expression. Qin Feng felt that she had discovered something. Ma Xinxin left with Qin Feng after she was done eating. Rao Sherman and big sister Ling were also done eating. Rao Sherman ran to Zhang Kuku and covered her mouth to stop her from laughing. Then she dragged Zhang Kuku away. Only CEO Gu and Guotao were left in the living room. When they saw Zheng Shuai had left, they quickly put down their chopsticks. In order to avoid talking to Qin Feng, they pretended to be eating, and their stomachs were about to explode. Holy shit! CEO Gu, what happened just now? Why did young Master Lu recognize Zheng Shuai as his big brother? Guotao had been holding back this question for a long time, but he didn't dare to ask it when Qin Feng was around. Guotao was sent flying by Ma Xinxin's kick. He fainted in the corridor for a while. He didn't know what happened when he left. Since Guotao couldn't figure it out, CEO Gu was even more confused. In the past, he had never heard of Lu Hai having schizophrenia or indirect neuropathy. But why did Lu Hai suddenly get sick tonight? CEO Gu regretted calling this lunatic over. Not only did he not chase Zheng Shuai away, he even gave him a chance to act tough. Lu Hai's plan is ruined. Hurry up and think of another way. This movie is about to start filming. I don't want that ugly Zheng Shuai to be the male lead. If that's the case, who would dare to watch the movies produced by our company in the future? CEO Gu was very angry. He was a big shot in the Hong Kong entertainment industry, yet he couldn't even beat a singer who had just entered the industry. Guotao was also very angry. He didn't manage to beat Zheng Shuai away tonight, but he was kicked away by a woman. Guotao clenched his teeth and swore that one day, he would tie Ma Xinxin to the bed and play with her to death. CEO Gu, don't worry, I'll go back and think of a new way. I'll definitely be able to chase Zheng Shuai away. Then that's it. I'll go back and rest first. Guotao and CEO Gu also left the hall. At this time, Qin Feng and Ma Xinxin had already returned to their hotel rooms and entered Ma Xinxin's room. The two of them opened the same suite, but Ma Xinxin's room was already filled with the fragrance of a woman. There were even a few books and some fruits on the coffee table in the living room. Qin Feng, where did you go last night? Ma Xinxin called Qin Feng to her room to ask him questions. Something happened to Liya. I went to take care of it. Qin Feng didn't hide anything from Ma Xinxin and told her the truth. Ma Xinxin's expression turned ugly as she said coldly, "You're already in Hong Kong, yet you still care about that woman's matters. You sure have nothing better to do." There's some danger on Xiaoya's side, so of course I have to rush over. Just like if you were bullied, even if I was abroad, I would rush back to save you. Qin Feng said indifferently, but it was all from the bottom of his heart. Ma Xinxin originally wanted to use this matter to argue with Qin Feng. However, after hearing Qin Feng's words, the resentment in her heart instantly dissipated and was replaced by a warm feeling. Oh right, when will Hedonist Sovereign start filming? Qin Feng got to the point. He became a celebrity to complete the system's mission. I think it'll take a few more days. Ma Xinxin wasn't angry anymore. She took the initiative to lean against Qin Feng on the sofa. Qin Feng wanted to complete the mission as soon as possible, so he didn't have time to waste. We still have to wait. Why? CEO Gu said that the female lead, Cher's schedule is too full these days, so she'll only be here in a few days. We'll start filming when she's here. CEO Gu's words were just an excuse because Cher's scenes were at the end. She didn't appear in the first few episodes, so she was dragging it out because she didn't want Qin Feng to act in this movie. Cher, this woman is such a burden, Qin Feng complained casually. Hee, weren't you looking forward to filming with the Pretty Girls group and Cher a few days ago? Now you know how to complain. Ma Xinxin looked at Qin Feng with schadenfreude. Qin Feng curled his lips and knocked on Ma Xinxin's head. You little girl, how dare you laugh at your employer? Believe it or not, I'll fire you as my manager. Ma Xinxin pouted. She wasn't afraid of Qin Feng's threat at all. She pinched Qin Feng's thigh and yelled, "Don't you dare. If you fire me, I'll upload the video of you sleeping with me online and ruin your reputation." Qin Feng was stunned. He said, "Do you have a video? Show it to me first." Qin Feng couldn't remember, when he had slept with Ma Xinxin. He wanted to, but would Ma Xinxin agree? Anyway, I have it. Be careful. Ma Xinxin's voice was a little weak. She quickly changed the topic. Oh right, your fans on Weibo are in an uproar. They're all saying that you're going to release a new song soon. Qin Feng had recently changed his career to the film and television industry. He hadn't released a new song for a long time. His 20 million fans were worried sick. They wanted to dig up Qin Feng's family's ancestral grave. Qin Feng took Ma Xinxin's phone and scanned the comments on Weibo. Handsome Zheng. Hurry up and release a new song. I've been waiting for you on Weibo a few hundred times a day. Big brother Zheng, I was wrong. I won't say you're ugly anymore. Hurry up and release a new song. My girlfriend has been in a bad mood because you haven't released a new song. She keeps asking me to kneel on the washboard. There's a kind of handsomeness called handsome Zheng. It's handsomeness that comes from the heart and transcends the soul. This kind of handsomeness will become a legend that will never be forgotten. Chapter 902. Qin Feng felt embarrassed when he read those comments. Why are these fans telling the truth? Ma Xinxin snatched her cell phone from Qin Feng's hand. She couldn't allow Qin Feng to continue reading these comments. Qin Feng was already narcissistic enough. What would happen if he became even more narcissistic? If you have time, go record your song. What's so interesting about these serious and nonsensical comments? They're all lies. Hey, what are you talking about? They're telling the truth. How are they lying? Qin Feng was displeased. They're lying. Stop being so narcissistic. Hurry up and record your song. Ma Xinxin refused to admit Qin Feng's handsomeness. She realized that Zheng Shuai's face had a different kind of handsomeness after looking at him for a long time. Qin Feng knew Ma Xinxin was jealous that he had more and more female fans, so he didn't expose her. I'm too lazy to sing. Why don't you upload the duet with Sherman that night? Oh right. I almost forgot about that precious video. Ma Xinxin became excited when she thought of the duet. Qin Feng wanted to sleep in Ma Xinxin's room, but he was mercilessly chased out by Ma Xinxin. The night passed peacefully. Since Schwer was absent, the movie Hedonist Sovereign couldn't be filmed for the time being. Therefore, Qin Feng and the beauty duo had nothing to do. Early in the morning, everyone slept in. Rao Sherman and Zhang Kuke hadn't had this much free time in a long time. Ma Xinxin's stomach growled when she woke up. She hastily put on her clothes and went out to have breakfast with Qin Feng. Ouch! Ma Xinxin heard a blood-curdling scream before she took a few steps out of the door. She seemed to have knocked someone over because she was walking too fast. Damn you! Don't you see where you're going? Fuck, it's a fat pig. How unlucky I am to be knocked over by a fat pig so early in the morning. The man on the ground was none other than Guotao. He crawled up from the ground and cursed incessantly. Last night, President Gu asked Guotao to come up with another plan. Guotao thought for a whole night, but he couldn't come up with a better idea. He stayed in the hotel to observe Zheng Shuai's movements and search for a chance to chase Zheng Shuai away. At this time, Guotao also woke up to eat. He didn't expect to be knocked over by an ugly woman who was as fat as a mountain. Ma Xinxin was very angry. Guotao actually dared to call her a fat pig? Ma Xinxin was about to refute Guotao, but she suddenly swallowed her words. Ma Xinxin seemed to have realized something and hurriedly looked at her own body. Ah! Ma Xinxin screamed in fright at the sight of her fat body. Before coming to Hong Kong, Ma Xinxin and Qin Feng lived together. Every morning Ma Xinxin didn't need to worry. Qin Feng would come to kiss her and help her absorb the poisonous gas in her body. Now that they suddenly came to Hong Kong and lived separately, Ma Xinxin had forgotten about this matter. Holy shit! What the hell are you shouting for, you fat pig? You scared me to death. Don't say that I took advantage of you. Do you think I'm blind? Guotao's eyes widened. He was afraid that the woman in front of him was a professional scammer. If she really framed him for taking advantage of her, Guotao would definitely kill Ma Xinxin. Ma Xinxin sent Guotao flying with a kick last night, but now she didn't have the confidence. Ma Xinxin, who suddenly became fat, felt inferior. She forgot to take care of Guotao. Now she wanted to dig a hole and hide. What if Guo recognized her as Ma Xinxin? What would she do? If news of this spread to the pretty young ladies group in Chairman Gu, would they laugh at him and Qin Feng? Would Qin Feng really abandon her in a fit of anger? Why you can't call me a fat pig? I am not a fat pig. Ma Xinxin felt wronged and tears welled up in her eyes. Ah, you're a big and sturdy man. Aren't you a fat pig? Calling you a fat pig is already praising you. How can a woman like you have the confidence to survive? Seeing you makes me nauseous. I don't even want to eat breakfast. Guo had been unlucky recently. He was beaten by Zheng Shuai and then Ma Xinxin. He had a belly full of anger. And now he vented it all in front of this strange woman. It felt great. When Ma Xinxin heard the word fat pig, she was angry and worried. However, she didn't have the courage to continue arguing with Guo. She immediately lowered her head and ran out. After running 2 steps, Ma Xinxin bumped into another man's embrace. Sorry. I didn't mean it. I'll be leaving first. Ma Xinxin didn't dare to look at him. She lowered her head and ran again. In the end, the other person pulled Ma Xinxin into his embrace. Ma Xinxin was so scared that she immediately looked up. Qin, Zheng Shuai. Seeing the person, Ma Xinxin cried out in surprise. Her worries and grievances settled down in an instant. Qin Feng hugged Ma Xinxin's shoulders and patted her head. His gaze fell on Guo face with a trace of coldness. What did you just call her? Qin Feng's voice seemed to come from hell. Guo was so scared that his entire body trembled. He almost knelt on the ground, but he quickly calmed down. Seeing Zheng Shuai hugging a big fat pig, Guo's eyes flashed with an evil smile. Guo was worried about not being able to find a chance to chase Zheng Shuai away. At this moment he suddenly saw an opportunity. I just said this woman is fat like a fat pig. What did I say wrong? Guo smiled and looked at Qin Feng. Ma Xinxin's body trembled in Qin Feng's embrace. She started to want to run again. She felt like she was embarrassing Qin Feng. Qin Feng hugged Ma Xinxin tightly and walked unhurriedly to Guo. Do you know who she is? She's a female fan of mine. Today, she came all the way to Hong Kong to see me. You dare to insult my fan? Believe it or not, I'll hit you. Qin Feng's voice carried a hint of arrogance. Guo felt a bit guilty, but he still pretended to be calm. Ha! So what if you're a fan? Can't people talk about your fan being fat? I just think this woman is fat and looks like a fat pig. What are you so arrogant about? I dare you to touch me. Bang! Without another word, Qin Feng slapped Guo across the face. Guo spun on the spot, and his eyes were filled with little stars. I tried. Do you have any objections? This slap wasn't light. It scared Ma Xinxin. She didn't think Qin Feng would really hit her. Guo spun a few times and finally steadied himself. Half of his face was as swollen as Ma Xinxin's. However, Guo's eyes carried a smile. He couldn't wait for Qin Feng to hit him. If Qin Feng dared to hit him, Guo had a way to make him scram. Haha. Good, very good. China's popular singer Zheng Shuai, right? As expected, you're arrogant. Aren't you just a freaking singer? Are you trying to act like a big shot in front of me? Come and hit me. Continue hitting me. If you have the guts, then beat me to death. Guo laughed crazily. He didn't care about the pain at the corner of his mouth. Today he would be beaten to a pulp. But afterwards, he wanted Zheng Shuai to live a life worse than death. Slap. Guo took the initiative to ask for a beating. How could Qin Feng not agree? Qin Feng had always been a lay Feng, who loved to help others without leaving his name. Without saying anything, he slapped Guo again. Guo started to scream. The scream was fake, as if he was about to give birth. Ma Xinxin realized something was wrong. She saw through Guo's intentions, and immediately went to stop Qin Feng. Zheng Shuai, stop hitting me. I am leaving first. Qin Feng grabbed Ma Xinxin and sent Guo flying with a kick. Grandson, look carefully. This is my Zheng Shuai's female fan. If anyone dares to offend my fan, I'll hit him in the face. You want to sue me? You want to use your connections to slander me? Do whatever you want. I, Zheng Shuai, have a bad temper. If I say I'll hit you, I'll hit you. What can you do about it? What Ma Xinxin could see, Qin Feng could see long ago. Since he already hit Guo, Qin Feng might as well hit him fiercely. As for what tricks Guo would play later, Qin Feng would play with him. Haha. Good, you're so fucking awesome. You're a celebrity. But I'm just a farmer. I can't do anything to you. I give up, okay? People like us at the bottom of society deserve to be hit by celebrities like you. Guo laughed even more crazily. There were traces of blood at the corner of his mouth. It was terrifying to look at. Ma Xinxin was so anxious that tears came out. She stood in front of Qin Feng and wouldn't let him hit Guo no matter what. Zheng Shuai, let's go. It's all my fault for causing trouble for you. Qin Feng was almost done hitting Guo. If he continued, Guotao's small body would be ravaged into pieces by Qin Feng. Qin Feng wasn't afraid of other people's strange gazes. He hugged Ma Xinxin's bucket-like waist and swaggered into the room. It's over, it's over. Qin Feng, why were you so impulsive? Now that you've hit Guotao, Chairman Gu will have an excuse to cancel the contract. Once they entered the room, Ma Xinxin anxiously paced back and forth. Qin Feng pulled Ma Xinxin to sit on the sofa. Without saying anything, he flipped over and sat on top of Ma Xinxin. He pressed down on her face and kissed her. Ma Xinxin was suddenly intoxicated. The worries in her mind instantly dissipated. Time seemed to stop. Sunlight shone on their faces. What a pair of good-looking people. Qin Feng and Ma Xinxin were both enchanted. The two kissed passionately. They wanted nothing more than to melt into each other's bodies. Qin Feng could feel Ma Xinxin's body quickly becoming thinner, because the white rabbit creamy candy in Qin Feng's hands went from chubby to bouncy. Ma Xinxin didn't resist or stop him. She allowed Qin Feng to dominate her body. After an unknown amount of time, Qin Feng's body suddenly rumbled. This noise was more intense than before. It scared Ma Xinxin, and she immediately came back to her senses. Ah, Qin Feng, what's wrong? Ma Xinxin looked worriedly at Qin Feng. She felt the aura on Qin Feng's body change greatly. Qin Feng's eyes were as bright as the stars. The aura on his body was as calm as water. However, when he moved slightly, it surged like a raging wave. This was the aura of a stage 9 inner chi expert. Qin Feng's cultivation was crippled by the divine dragon. But he returned to the early stage of stage 9 inner chi after a month. He was back to his peak condition when he battled the divine dragon at Mount God Dragon. Qin Feng, who used the poisonous gas in Ma Xinxin's body to break through to stage 9 inner chi, felt his strength was even more ferocious than before. Chapter 903. Qin Feng had recovered his stage 9 inner chi and returned to his peak condition. In his excitement, he suddenly pressed Ma Xinxin down, bent down and kissed her again. Ma Xinxin had become skinnier. Her figure was sexy and pure. Ordinary men would not have the slightest ability to resist in front of her. Qin Feng's movements were very big. Ma Xinxin's skin was covered in a layer of red, and she felt as if her entire body was about to ignite. However, Ma Xinxin did not stop Qin Feng. She allowed Qin Feng to take her and taste her. When Ma Xinxin was fat and ugly, no one liked her. Everyone even distanced themselves from her and attacked her with malicious words, just like Guotao just now. Only Qin Feng treated her the same from beginning to end. Qin Feng accepted Ma Xinxin when she was at her ugliest and fattest. Then, the gorgeous Ma Xinxin, who had turned into a fair, rich and beautiful Ma Xinxin, was willing to give herself to Qin Feng unconditionally. The two of them naturally immersed themselves in it. When it reached the climax, Qin Feng's phone suddenly rang. Qin Feng suddenly stopped. He looked awkwardly at Ma Xinxin, who was in his arms with half her clothes removed. For a moment he didn't know what to do. Answer the phone first. It might be an important call. Ma Xinxin said shyly. Qin Feng answered the phone and yelled angrily. Who is it? I'm going to die if I call you at this time. Qin Feng was a bit angry. If he had known this would happen, he would have turned off his phone. Ma Xinxin was amused by Qin Feng's expression. The person on the other side of the phone was clearly stunned for a moment. Then a thick coquettish voice came through. Big brother Zheng Shuai. Why are you yelling at me? Are you still in bed? Then you definitely haven't had breakfast, right? Come to Sherman's in my room. We just ordered breakfast, and we even ordered yours and Xian's. That voice was very familiar. But it also felt extremely unfamiliar to Qin Feng and Ma Xinxin. In their minds, Zhang Kuku's mouth was always full of sarcasm. What's wrong with her? It started acting up last night. Has it not recovered yet? Are you sick? I'm not eating anymore. You guys eat by yourselves. Qin Feng was in the middle of his business when Zhang Kuku's phone call ruined the atmosphere. How could he not be angry? Aya, big brother Zheng Shuai, how did you know Kiki was sick? Kiki's chest has been hurting lately. Do you want to come and give her a massage? Once Zhang Kuku changed, she changed completely. Qin Feng's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Ahem. I'll go in a bit. I'll hang up first. Qin Feng immediately hung up the phone, because he could feel a pair of murderous eyes staring at him. Qin Feng felt wronged, because he had nothing to do with Zhang Kuku. Well done, Qin Feng. You're really capable. You managed to get that silly girl, Kuku, under my nose. Should I praise you or praise you? As soon as the call ended, Ma Xinxin's eccentric voice rang in Qin Feng's ears. Qin Feng knew this would happen. He looked at Ma Xinxin's furious expression and knew he couldn't get his hands on her. He was so angry that he wanted to break Ma Xinxin's legs. Xinxin, you still believe that crazy Kiki's words? It's not like you don't know her. That woman's brain can be good and bad at the same time. Maybe she deliberately sowed discord early in the morning because she wanted you to quarrel with me. To put it bluntly, that woman thinks I'm too handsome and can't bear to see me doing well. Qin Feng spouted nonsense with a straight face. Ma Xinxin thought for a while and agreed with him. Both of them stopped bickering. But when Qin Feng wanted to continue what he was doing, Ma Xinxin kicked him off the sofa. Since Zhang Kuku had bought breakfast, Ma Xinxin put on their clothes and went to the pretty girl group's room. It's Mr. Zheng Shuai and Miss XNXN. When the door opened, Sister Ling was standing at the door. She purposely shouted into the room to let Rao Sherman and Zhang Kuku mentally prepare themselves. If the two girls were naked, then Zheng Shuai would have picked up a big bargain. Kiki, sit down. Zheng Shuai is here. Rao Sherman's voice echoed in the room. After a while, Rao Sherman changed her attitude and said softly, Sister Ling, please invite Zheng Shuai and XNXIN in. Sister Ling led Qin Feng and Ma Xinxin into the room. The pretty girl group's presidential suite was bigger and more luxurious than Qin Feng and Ma Xinxin's room. The two women were in the living room. Rao Sherman was dressed in conservative black pajamas that covered her body. She sat on the sofa, sipping milk and watching TV. Zhang Kuku was lying on the sofa, playing a video game with one hand and eating a greasy bun with the other. She wore a spaghetti-strap dress and didn't seem to mind Qin Feng's presence at all. Sorry to disturb you, Miss Sherman. Qin Feng greeted Rao Sherman politely. As for Zhang Kuku, Qin Feng didn't think it was necessary for him to greet her. Ma Xinxin sat beside Rao Sherman. Rao Sherman smiled and said, Take a seat. We're good friends, so there's no need to be so polite. Ma Xinxin really didn't stand on ceremony with Rao Sherman, because she was starving. She picked up the delicacies on the table and started eating. Big Sis Ling was very perceptive. She already went to a room in the inner room, and didn't want to disturb their gathering. Qin Feng stood in the middle of the living room, and glanced at Zhang Kuku's thighs from time to time. It was one thing for this girl to be scantily clad, but she was lying on the sofa in a seductive posture. Her long legs were kicking in the air, and her spaghetti-strap skirt was already lifted to her waist. Qin Feng couldn't help but stare. Ah, Kuku, are you trying to piss me off? Zheng Shuai is here. Sit down quick. Rao Sherman reached out her hand to pat Zhang Kuku's perky buttocks. Her crisp and sexy voice tickled Qin Feng's heart. Zhang Kuku didn't mind. She twisted her buttocks and complained. Why did you hit me, Sherman? Zheng Shuai can look if he wants. It's not like he hasn't seen other people's buttocks before. Rao Sherman and Ma Xinxin widened their eyes and stared at Qin Feng. Their faces were filled with strange expressions as if they were saying, So you're this kind of person? Qin Feng was depressed. He had a feeling that Zhang Kuku had discovered his identity. Her words indicated that she was right. Qin Feng didn't dare to argue with Zhang Kuku anymore. He didn't know what kind of shocking things this girl would say when she was agitated. Qin Feng sat on the other side of Rao Sherman. A faint fragrance wafted from Rao Sherman's body. Cuckoo is just joking. Let's ignore her. Qin Feng took a sip of milk to calm himself down. Ah, big brother Zheng Shuai, don't drink Cuckoo's milk, it's Cuckoo's milk. Pfft. Qin Feng spat out the milk that he just drank. Ma Xinxin quickly came over to wipe the table. Rao Sherman held her forehead and had the urge to hack Zhang Cuckoo to death. Cuckoo, shut up. Why don't you go play with big sister Ling in the house? The three of them were speechless. How could this woman be so invincible? Wait a minute. How could she be so big-breasted and brainless? Zhang Cuckoo threw away the paw in her hand and glared at the three of them angrily. Enough. It's all your fault for talking to Cuckoo. Even my boss can't beat you. I've drunk that glass of milk before. Did I say anything wrong? Zhang Cuckoo's words were reasonable. They had nothing to say even if they wanted to refute her. However, the way she spoke was too shocking and difficult for them to accept. There's still a whole jug of milk. Did Zheng Shuai drink your cup already? Just pour another cup. As the saying goes, those who came were guests, so Rao Sherman naturally spoke up for Qin Feng's side. Arg. Sherman, you're really a guy who forgets his friends when it comes to love. Have you found out about Zheng Shuai's identity? How dare you help him to teach Cuckoo a lesson? Cuckoo, don't you want to live anymore? Zhang Cuckoo bounced on the sofa. Qin Feng was worried that her spaghetti-strap dress would fall off her shoulders. What identity? Isn't Zheng Shuai? You're acting up again. Rao Sherman did not notice anything unusual. Zhang Cuckoo stole a glance at Qin Feng. She opened her mouth but said nothing in the end. After the table was cleared, everyone sat on the sofa and ate their breakfast. Zhang Cuckoo insisted on sitting next to Qin Feng. She placed her feet on Qin Feng's thighs and shouted, Big brother Zheng Shuai, I don't care. You've drunk my milk just now. Pour me another glass and feed Cuckoo breakfast. Qin Feng felt weird when he heard Zhang Cuckoo's words. He couldn't help but steal a few glances at Zhang Cuckoo's chest. Ma Xinxin and Rao Sherman noticed Qin Feng's wretched behavior, but they didn't care. Zhang Cuckoo was determined to take advantage of Qin Feng. So how could they stop her? Qin Feng's original intention was to have a chat with Rao Sherman. But in the end, he became Zhang Cuckoo's male nanny. He fed Zhang Cuckoo buns and fed her milk. Ah, big brother Zheng Shuai, do you have eyes on your chest? My mouth is on my chest. Why did you pour the milk into my chest? Zhang Cuckoo started to scream again. Qin Feng hastily put down the glass. He was so embarrassed that his face turned red. He had been staring at Zhang Cuckoo's chest and accidentally poured the milk into it. Ma Xinxin and Rao Sherman shook their heads. The two women ignored Qin Feng and Zhang Cuckoo. They found that the two of them were a perfect match. One was lecherous and wretched, and the other was stupid. They complemented each other perfectly. Zhang Cuckoo angrily went to the bathroom to take a shower. Qin Feng thought it was his fault, so he should help Zhang Cuckoo clean up. But in the end he restrained himself. The living room returned to normal after Zhang Cuckoo was gone. Ma Xinxin scrolled through Weibo and discovered that the duet video of Qin Feng and Rao Sherman posted last night had shot to the top of Weibo's trending topic list. The number of views and reposts had skyrocketed, and the number of comments below the video couldn't even keep up. There were dozens of new comments every second. Rao Sherman was also scrolling through Weibo on her cell phone. After she saw Zheng Shuai's post, she reposted the duet video on her Weibo. The duet video became even more popular. In just a short while, it had become the top trending topic on Baidu. Ma Xinxin and Rao Sherman were overjoyed. Qin Feng, on the other hand, continued to eat his breakfast calmly. He became a celebrity to complete the system's mission. He didn't care about the attention and fans. His life principle was to keep a low profile. Qin Feng had been living a low-profile life. Chapter 904. Guotao was not angry at all after being beaten up by Qin Feng. Instead, he ran to Manager Gu's office excitedly. Fuck! You were caught having an affair early in the morning? Why are you so careless? Manager Gu jumped in fright when he saw Guotao's swollen face. Guotao was speechless. He quickly explained, Manager Gu, I wasn't having an affair. I was beaten up by Zheng Shuai. Guo still had an excited look on his face after being beaten, causing the Tung Gu to be so scared that his eyeballs almost popped out. Last night, Lu Hai suddenly went crazy, and this early in the morning. Why did Guo also go crazy? Are you out of your mind? Why are you so happy that Zheng Shuai beat you up? Manager Gu, you can't say that. My beating was planned. I set a trap for Zheng Shuai. Manager Gu's expression changed. He suddenly became spirited. What trap? Speak clearly. Guo mysteriously took out a USB drive and passed it to Manager Gu. Manager Gu, take a look at this video first. Then you'll understand everything. Manager Gu's curiosity was piqued. He plugged the USB drive into the computer and opened the video. The video was the one where Qin Feng protected Ma Xinxin and beat Guo up. The video was very clear, and the conversation between the two could be heard. Manager Gu watched it from the beginning to the end, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. He understood everything now. Haha. Guo, good job, brat. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer this beating for nothing. Send this video to all the major media outlets and have them denounce Zheng Shuai's violent behavior. Let the entire entertainment circle ban Zheng Shuai. After this is done, I'll give you a bonus. As a veteran in the entertainment circle, Manager Gu immediately saw through Guo's plan. Guo had purposefully angered Qin Feng so that Qin Feng would hit him. After all, celebrities were different from ordinary people. A celebrity's every word and action was closely watched by the public, and if a celebrity did anything immoral, they would be condemned by the entire society. This time, Zheng Shuai beat Guo up in front of so many people. He even cursed. This behavior was extremely vile. Manager Gu and Guo had already seen Zheng Shuai's tragic ending. Alright, I'll go do it now. Zhang Kuku came out of the bathroom after her shower. She was wearing a spaghetti-strapped nightgown with lingerie underneath. Zhang Kuku walked out of the bathroom with a simple white towel wrapped around her body. She even bent over and raised her, but as she tidied her hair in front of the bathroom mirror. Kiki, go back to your room and dry your hair. Put on some proper clothes before you come out. Rao Sherman was on the verge of going berserk when she saw Qin Feng pasting his eyes on Zhang Kuku. Ah, why did he have to go back to the house? Who's going to chat with you if I leave? I'll just do my hair here. You guys can do whatever you want. Zhang Kuku didn't mind being exposed. It was as if Qin Feng was a woman in her eyes. Rao Sherman and Ma Xinxin were completely speechless. Qin Feng still looked like a pig head, but the two girls didn't blame him at all. Or perhaps, Qin Feng was actually a victim? Haha, it feels so good to take a bath. Brother Zheng Shuai, don't pour milk on me again, or I'll ask you to help me bathe. After Zhang Kuku finished drying her hair, she ran to Qin Feng's side and sat down. Qin Feng was so excited that he almost poured milk on Zhang Kuku again. Rao Sherman and Ma Xinxin didn't want to talk to Zhang Kuku anymore. The two girls sat quietly at the side and watched the television. Coincidentally, the morning news came on. It was about an alien incident. Ah, Sherman, look. I told you someone discovered an alien last night, but you didn't believe me. Now the news is on the television. What should we do? The end of the world is coming. Zhang Kuku was so flustered that no one paid attention to her. Qin Feng was startled. He realized that the news wasn't talking about an alien, but the flaming golden eagle that Qin Feng rode. Last night, Qin Feng rode the flaming golden eagle to Zhongchuan City to rescue Liya. Along the way, many people spotted the flaming golden eagle, and some even took videos and photos. The television broadcasted the videos and photos taken by netizens. Fortunately, the flaming golden eagle was very fast. Moreover, it was night time, so the videos were very blurry. One could only see a flaming object moving at high speed in the sky. According to our radio station's reporter's understanding of the situation, this video was shared by a netizen. At 7:33 last night, this netizen took this video at Hong Kong Bay. Everyone can see an unknown object flying quickly in the video. It looks like a ball of flame. This video has been sent to China's National Defense Research Laboratory for further research. According to the research report, this unidentified flying object is most likely a new type of alien spaceship. Its speed is faster than the top fighter jets. The U.S. Department of Aviation sent a secret message this morning, requesting to come to China to study this unidentified flying object. We will follow up on the situation of the flaming spaceship in outer space. Please pay more attention. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. You can add our WeChat account. Rauscher Man and Ma Xinxin were dumbfounded. Even Zhang Kuku, who couldn't stop eating stride mall, quietly listened to the entire news report. Qin Feng was speechless. He was about to die of depression. He told the flaming golden eagle to keep a low profile, but the giant bird didn't listen to him. The flaming spaceship in outer space? Qin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the Chinese people's wild imaginations. Xian, big brother Zheng Shuai, what size do you usually wear? Zhang Kuku's anxious voice broke the silence in the living room. The three of them looked at Zhang Kuku curiously. Qin Feng asked, "Why do you ask?" Zhang Kuku was extremely anxious. She kicked her legs and yelled, "Quick, tell me. There are only 558 pieces of doomsday spacesuits left. I'm killing them all. Hurry up." Qin Feng and the others rolled their eyes and almost fainted from joy. Zhang Kuku did not wait for Qin Feng and Ma Xinxin to tell her their sizes. She randomly picked 2 sizes and bought 4 sets. After confirming the order, Zhang Kuku threw her cell phone away. She patted her breasts and heaved a long sigh. Phew! We finally got it. The 4 of us don't have to die anymore. No one paid attention to Zhang Kuku anymore. They left her to her own devices. However, there was no lack of idiots in China. There were many people like Zhang Kuku who were delusional. Ever since the CCTV broadcast the news about the flaming spaceship in outer space, all the major online shopping platforms started selling like hotcakes. It was simply unstoppable. Qin Feng spent the whole morning in the pretty girl group's house. Since Cher was not here and Chairman Gu did not plan to start filming, they chatted and watched TV. Time flew by, and soon it was afternoon. After staying at home for the whole day, they were ready to go shopping and have dinner. Suddenly, an entertainment news was broadcasted on the TV. Extra large, extra large. We've just received exclusive news that Zheng Shuai, a rising star in the Chinese music industry, insulted and beat up a migrant worker in the Hong Kong International Hotel this morning. According to insiders, the migrant worker is now in a deep coma and is being treated in the hospital. He's in critical condition and could die at any time. Let's cut to the chase and show the real news. The words used in the entertainment news were trendy. As soon as the host finished his sentence, the screen switched to a video. In the video, Qin Feng hugged the chubby Ma Xinxin with one hand and slapped Guotao's face with the other. This video was edited from the moment Qin Feng started to attack, until Guotao was beaten to the point where he couldn't get up. His face was swollen, and blood seeped from the corners of his mouth. While Qin Feng was beating Guotao up, he was also cursing Guotao with profanity. Both Zhang Kuku and Rauscher Man were dumbfounded. The video is the whole process of Zheng Shuai beating up the migrant worker. I have to admit that I'm one of Zheng Shuai's hardcore fans. But after watching this video, I want to roar in front of the whole nation. Zheng Shuai, you scum, get out of the entertainment industry. The report ended. The room was so quiet that one could hear the sound of a needle dropping. Rauscher Man and Zhang Kuku stared at Qin Feng with their eyes wide open. They did not expect Qin Feng to beat up Guotao so early in the morning. Under these circumstances, how could Qin Feng be so carefree and leisurely, as if nothing had happened? Rauscher Man and Zhang Kuku admired Qin Feng's mental fortitude. Shit. Qin Feng, what should we do now? Ma Xinxin was the first to regain her senses. She shouted Qin Feng's name out of excitement. Rauscher Man was still in a daze and did not realize what had happened. Zhang Kuku suddenly jumped up and grabbed Ma Xinxin's arm. Xinxin, what did you call Zheng Shuai just now? Ma Xinxin was startled. She realized that she had blurted out something in a moment of desperation. However, she quickly regained her composure and looked at Zhang Kuku with a puzzled expression. Ah, what did I call him? Isn't he called Zheng Shuai? Why are you still in the mood to ask such boring questions? Now that Guotao has maliciously slandered Zheng Shuai, let's think of a solution. Qin Feng's heart was like a roller coaster, going up and down. Zhang Keku's big eyes were rolling around. No one knew what she was thinking about. Zheng Shuai, what's going on? Who's the fat woman in the video? Rao Sherman came back to her senses and looked at Qin Feng worriedly. Ma Xinxin blushed and secretly gave Qin Feng a meaningful look. Because of the beauty group's high looks, Ma Xinxin had always felt inferior, especially when she became fat. She felt that she would lose face for Qin Feng. That cute girl is a hardcore fan of mine. She came to the hotel to see me this morning, but Guo Tao stopped her and insulted her figure and looks. I happened to be passing by, and in a fit of anger, I beat up that bastard Guo Tao. Qin Feng spoke half the truth. Rao Sherman and Zhang Keku were furious. They knew what kind of people Guo Tao and Chairman Gu were, so they stood on Qin Feng's side. Chapter 905. The assault incident was originally Phoenix TV's exclusive news, but it became the hot topic of all the entertainment channels half an hour later. Divine Dragon TV, Black Turtle TV, Toad TVC, Five-Legged Paparazzi Express Information Channel. Almost all the entertainment channels in the country were following up on this incident. Ma Xinxin kept scrolling through Qin Feng's Weibo. Within this short half an hour, all the popular topics on all the major websites, forums, and Weibo were Zheng Shuai's assault incident. Fierce insults and negative comments flooded the internet. You could see comments from netizens asking Zheng Shuai to get out of the entertainment industry if you opened a random website related to the entertainment industry. Ma Xinxin was so anxious that she cried. She knew she was the one who caused all this. If she could turn back time, Ma Xinxin would definitely stop Qin Feng. She would rather admit to Guo Tao, "That's right, I'm a fat pig. I'm a woman that nobody loves and everyone curses at me. I'll hide from now on, okay?" What did Ma Xinxin do wrong? She did nothing wrong, but she felt guilty. She had ruined all the achievements Qin Feng had worked so hard for. Ma Xinxin wanted to leave Qin Feng because she felt that she was a burden. "Don't cry, Xinxin. Let those idiots curse at me. I won't apologize no matter how much they curse at me. If I have to do it again, I won't do it. I'll kick that bastard Guo Tao to death." Qin Feng was infuriated, but he suppressed his anger when he saw Ma Xinxin crying her heart out. He was afraid that Ma Xinxin would blame herself even more if he vented his anger. The TV was still covering the assault incident. Many entertainment channel reporters went to the streets to investigate the incident. The people who were interviewed reacted angrily, and most of them were condemning Qin Feng. Rao Sherman and Zhang Keku were even more anxious than Qin Feng. They knew that Qin Feng was tricked by Guo Tao, so they decided to stand up and help Qin Feng. "Sherman, I want to make a statement on our public Weibo. I'm serious this time. I'll do it even if you say I'm crazy." Zhang Keku was typing rapidly on her phone. Rao Sherman nodded and said, "Hurry up and explain the situation in detail. If one post isn't enough, send 10. Qin Feng felt warm when he saw everyone was busy and anxious for him. The doorbell rang, and Sister Ling ran out to open the door. "Manager Gu, Director Guo Tao. Are you looking for Sherman and Kiki?" The door opened and President Gu and Guo Tao walked in with a smile. The bruises on Guo Tao's face had not subsided yet, and he looked a little embarrassed. Zhang Keku, who didn't mind being exposed all this while, suddenly ran into the inner room and put on a large windbreaker that covered her calves. "Hee, we're not looking for Sherman and Kiki. We're here to discuss something with Marshal Zheng." Chairman Gu had already walked into the room and sat down on the sofa opposite Qin Feng. He crossed his legs and looked at Qin Feng playfully. Guo Tao stood behind Chairman Gu. Although his face was full of injuries, Guo Tao was smiling happily. He had waited for this moment for a long time. The two of them hadn't said anything yet, but the women and Qin Feng knew what they were here for. The TV was still broadcasting the Zheng Shuai assault incident. All that entered his ears were the voices of the people shouting for him to get out of the entertainment industry. "Guo Tao, you despicable person! I'll kill you!" Ma Xinxin looked at Guo Tao as if he had killed her father. She pounced on him and wanted to beat him up. Last night, Guo Tao had been sent flying by Ma Xinxin's kick. He was so scared that he immediately hid behind Chairman Gu. Qin Feng pulled Ma Xinxin into his embrace and patted her back. He looked at Chairman Gu and said, "If you have something to say, just say it. What are you here for?" Chairman Gu rubbed his chin and laughed triumphantly. Hee hee, Zheng Shuai, you can't keep your cool. Didn't you just transform from a country bumpkin to a superstar overnight? What's there to be proud of? Ha! You dared to hit someone. You hit a peasant worker? Do you not see peasant workers as human beings? How can you be so heartless? Sigh. I must have been blind to work with someone like you. Now that your reputation is completely ruined, you've automatically breached the contract. Our contract is also automatically terminated. I won't pay you a single cent. You better fucking disappear from my sight tonight, or I'll make sure you never leave Hong Kong. Previously, he did not dare to do anything to Qin Feng because of the 10 billion yuan compensation. Now that Chairman Gu was no longer afraid, he revealed his fox's tail. Hey, don't you have any shame? Peasant worker? Guo was the one who looked for trouble. He deserved to be hit. Zhang Ke glared at Chairman Gu angrily and spoke up for Qin Feng. Guo laughed and said, Haha, Beauty Ke, don't you know? I'm a peasant worker. After work, I have to carry bricks at the construction site. Haha. Yes, you have to carry bricks. Director Guo has to carry bricks. Chairman Gu burst into laughter. Both of them were fearless. Ma Xinxin and the other two women were so angry that their hair stood on end. Qin Feng was also angry, but he was much calmer than the three women. Especially when faced with an emergency, Qin Feng would quickly calm himself down and find a way to change the situation. Soon Qin Feng's eyes lit up. He had an idea. Director Guo has to carry bricks at the construction site at night? Are you mocking peasant workers? Qin Feng suddenly said. Chairman Gu and Guo stopped laughing. At the mention of peasant workers, Guo's face flashed with disdain. Humph. It's my business whether I carry bricks or not. Why the hell do you care? Don't change the topic. Chairman Gu wants to talk to you about terminating the contract. Hurry up and apologize to me and get lost. Due to the huge impact of this incident and the condemnation from the public, Chairman Gu and Guo were confident that Qin Feng would not be able to climb out of this mess. Fine, since things have gotten to this point, I have nothing else to say. I've long heard that the entertainment industry is deep, and that it's like there's a palace fight going on every day. Now I've experienced it firsthand. Director Guo set up such a trap just to push me aside. You really are a genius. When Guo saw Qin Feng's dispirited expression, he thought that Qin Feng had admitted defeat and was extremely pleased. Humph. Brat, you've realized too late. You want to fight with me? You're still too inexperienced. I can kill a row of newbies like you in a matter of minutes. Even if I can't deal with you today, I can easily kill you in the future. You want to film a movie like Hedonist Sovereign with your appearance? Hurry up and scram back to the fields. Guo's words became more and more vicious. Ma Xinxin and the other two women couldn't bear it anymore. Qin Feng paid no heed to Guo's words. He pressed the end button on his phone and sent the recording to Chairman Du. As for the rest, Qin Feng believed that Chairman Du would handle it well. Guo was unaware of the situation and continued to mock Qin Feng like an idiot. Qin Feng was already sitting on the sofa, leisurely eating fruits and watching the news. Big brother Zheng Shuai, I'll help you get rid of those two annoying flies. If they really dare to terminate the contract with you, then I won't act in Hedonist Sovereign anymore. Zhang Ke was an impatient person and said whatever came to her mind. At this moment Qin Feng's phone rang. It was Chairman Du at this moment. Chairman Du was in the office of Starlight Media Company in Zhongchuan City. He paced back and forth in the room like an ant on a hot pan. Actually, Chairman Du had already seen the news. When he found out about Zheng Shuai's assault, he was scared half to death. He hurriedly used all his channels and connections to try to block this negative news. However, the impact of this incident was too great. Moreover, Hong Kong's House of Millions media company deliberately promoted it. Chairman Du could not stop the situation no matter how hard he tried. Just when Chairman Du was extremely anxious, Qin Feng sent him a recording. After listening to the recording, Chairman Du immediately called him. Mr. Zheng, is the recording you just sent Guotao? Chairman Du didn't have time for pleasantries. He went straight to the point. That's right. You should have seen the video. You know what to do, right? Qin Feng knew that Chairman Du knew Guotao. Now that he had the recording, Chairman Du should be able to retaliate. I understand. Guotao, that scum, dared to set Mr. Zheng up. Please wait for a moment. I'll expose that bastard's plot now. Chairman Du hung up and started to work. Guotao smiled playfully at Qin Feng and said, Ugly country bumpkin. It's useless for you to call now. If you want to call people to deal with Chairman Gu and me, I advise you to stop daydreaming. This is Hong Kong, Chairman Gu's territory. Guotao thought that Qin Feng was calling for reinforcements, but he was not afraid at all. When Chairman Gu thought about how Lu Hai suddenly recognized Zheng Shuai as his big brother last night, he felt a little guilty. He cleared his throat and said, Zheng Shuai, we've known each other for a while. I don't want to make our relationship too stiff. You ruined your reputation this time. According to the rules of the entertainment industry, I can't use you as the main character anymore. You should leave now. We'll part on good terms. Chairman Gu originally planned to flirt with the beauty duo, but the sudden appearance of Zheng Shuai completely ruined Chairman Gu and Guotao's plan. Now the two of them had put down everything they were doing. The only thing they needed to do was to chase Qin Feng out of Hong Kong. Zhang Keke suddenly stood up and was about to bicker with Guotao and Chairman Gu again. Qin Feng pulled her to sit beside him and said unhurriedly, Oh right. Which channel is the main channel of Starlight Media? Qin Feng was still in the mood to watch Starlight Media at this time. Everyone was stunned. No one could understand Qin Feng's thoughts. Zhang Keke was stunned. She picked up the remote control and switched to the channel of Starlight Media. Big brother Zheng Shuai, do you want to watch young Master Du's drama, The Most Handsome High School Student? It will start in half an hour. I've been watching that drama every night. I like the main character very much. He looks like the warm guy next door. Chapter 906. Ignoring Zhang Keke. Qin Feng ate his fruits and watched Star TV as if he was waiting for something. Ma Xinxin and Rao Sherman couldn't understand Qin Feng at all. At a time like this, they didn't know where Qin Feng got his confidence to be so calm. President Gu did not have the patience to waste time with Qin Feng. He signaled Guotao with his eyes. Guotao immediately slammed the table and stood up. He yelled at Qin Feng. Brat, are you playing with us? Do you think there's nothing going on between me and President Gu? Let me tell you, I'll give you 5 more minutes. If you don't leave after 5 minutes, we won't go easy on you. The beauties could not stand Guotao's arrogance any longer. Ma Xinxin stood up and prepared to send Guotao flying with a kick. Star TV will now broadcast an urgent entertainment news. Before Ma Xinxin could lift her leg, the voice from the TV attracted everyone's attention. Star TV was playing an advertisement when the screen suddenly changed to an entertainment news report. This afternoon, the Zheng Shuai assault incident that caused an uproar in the entertainment circle has new investigation results. According to the verification of our station's staff, we will now broadcast the true situation of this incident. The beautiful host's voice trailed off, and the screen switched to a video. The video was still the same one that showed Qin Feng beating Guotao up. Everyone, please watch this video carefully. The victim in the video is not a peasant laborer. According to our investigation, this man is Guotao, 36 years old. He's the director of Hong Kong's House of Millions Media Group. According to our reporters, Zheng Shuai is currently staying at Hong Kong's International Hotel to film the movie adaptation of the most popular IP novel, Hedonist Sovereign. Guotao is the director responsible for receiving Zheng Shuai. They know each other. However, when the video was released, the director of Hong Kong's House of Millions Media Group said that the victim was a peasant laborer. He's obviously lying through his teeth. Now let me play a recording of the conversation between Guotao and Zheng Shuai 10 minutes ago. The video and the beautiful host's voice disappeared and was replaced by a recording. All right, I have nothing to say since it has come to this. It was Zheng Shuai's voice. Brat, you're too late. You want to fight me? You're still too inexperienced. I can kill a row of newbies like you in minutes." What followed was Guotao's arrogant and despotic shout. The recording kept playing, but President Gu and Guotao's faces gradually turned cold. The two finally understood what Zheng Shuai was waiting for. Why was he so calm and composed? It turned out that this guy had already thought of a countermeasure. Unknowingly, he had dragged President Gu and Guotao into the ditch. "Damn you, Zheng. You dared to play dirty. I wanted to part ways on good terms, but now you're the one asking for trouble." Guotao gritted his teeth in anger. He took out his phone and prepared to call someone to teach Qin Feng a lesson. Ma Xinxin was so excited that she didn't have to worry about Guotao anymore. Before Guotao could make a call, Ma Xinxin kicked Guotao and his phone to the door. Bang! The fall was so loud that the sound of bones breaking could be heard. The iPhone 7 that Guotao had just bought broke into two halves. Guotao screamed in pain. His voice was terrifying. Manager Gu was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. The TV had already clarified the whole incident. Then, the scene switched to the main street of the provincial capital. The reporters of Star Media were extremely busy tonight. They were all doing investigations on the streets. "Hello, citizen. Have you seen the report on Zheng Shuai's assault?" asked the reporter. "I just saw it. I've wronged Zheng Shuai. He's such a good young man. That bastard is called Guotao, right? That brat better not come to the provincial capital. If I see him, I'll bring all my old square dance partners to kill him." The woman being interviewed was extremely emotional. "Beauty, what do you think of Zheng Shuai?" This time, the person being interviewed was a chubby woman. When she heard the two words Zheng Shuai, her eyes lit up. She snatched the microphone and yelled, "Zheng Shuai, do you have a girlfriend? I'm willing to do anything for you. I want to bear your children. You're the Prince Charming of us fat women. You've helped us regain our confidence. I'm proud to be your fan." The fact that Qin Feng beat Guotao up, because of the fat Ma Xinxin, made the hundreds of millions of fat women in China go wild. They lived cautiously, and had the same troubles as Ma Xinxin. They were often ostracized and looked down on. They had low self-esteem and were easily hurt. But today Qin Feng cleared their names. So what if they were fat women? Fat women were also people, and they could live sexy and adorable lives. The interview on the street was suddenly interrupted, because the situation was too heated and out of control. The TV screen was black, and only the fans' chants could be heard. "Zheng Shuai is the most handsome. Go Zheng Shuai!" Ma Xinxin cried while Rao Sherman's eyes reddened. Rao Sherman was also a celebrity. Seeing the fans' support and care, Rao Sherman was deeply touched. Zhang Ke saw that she couldn't watch the TV anymore. She quickly took out her phone and started browsing Weibo. Then, the whole room was filled with her screaming. "Ah, it's over. Sherman, our Weibo has been taken over by Zheng Shuai's fans. They're all here to support Zheng Shuai. They even liked our posts." After the incident of Zheng Shuai beating Guotao up, only the pretty girl group stood out to support Zheng Shuai. Now that the truth had come to light, the pretty girl group also became popular because of Qin Feng. Ma Xinxin and Rao Sherman also took out their phones and browsed through the comments. All the major websites became popular. Some small websites' servers were overcrowded and couldn't be accessed. Qin Feng's Weibo exploded. The number of his fans skyrocketed from 20 million to 30 million. There were countless comments, over 1 million shares, and the number of views was dizzying. "Zheng Shuai, I'm sorry. We've wronged you. Good job, Zheng Shuai. That son of a bitch Guotao. Don't let the handsome fans see you. They'll walk you every time they see you. I told you that Zheng Shuai isn't the kind of person who acts like a big shot. Do you believe me now? I used to think that guys like Wu Yanzu and Li Yifeng were handsome. But after knowing Zheng Shuai, I realized what is handsome from the soul. This kind of handsomeness can't be imitated. You can't reach Zheng Shuai's level even if you put on makeup or have plastic surgery. Zheng Shuai's handsomeness is unique and eternal. Do you know who she is? She's one of my female fans. How dare you insult my fan? Believe it or not, I'll slap you." These are Zheng Shuai's exact words. It's enough to be Zheng Shuai's female fan. The comments came wave after wave, and all of them were praises for Qin Feng. Some people even suspected that Qin Feng had hired fake reviewers to dominate the comments. But when they saw the huge number of fake reviewers, they immediately dispelled this idea. How much money did he have to spend? Qin Feng was originally ranked 68th on Baidu's top entertainment ranking. But because of today's incident, his popularity soared to the top of Baidu's top entertainment ranking. Today, no matter if you open Baidu, Google, Sogu, or any other browser, the most eye-catching title on the homepage was the whole story of Zheng Shuai's assault incident. The total number of clicks had exceeded 100 million. Star TV's image returned to normal, and it was switched to the streets of Hong Kong. Similarly, many reporters were interviewing the incident on the streets. The citizens of Hong Kong overwhelmingly supported Qin Feng and cursed Guo to get out of the entertainment industry. Only the screams and screams of the fans could be heard in the room. The atmosphere seemed to have frozen. Guo lay at the doorway. His body was still in excruciating pain, but he had already forgotten to scream. He was completely dumbfounded after watching Star TV's report. Click. Qin Feng held the remote control and abruptly turned off the TV. In an instant, the room fell into a deathly silence. Chairman Gu, you said that my reputation is bad, but now it seems that's not the case. Qin Feng's voice resounded and broke the strange atmosphere. Chairman Gu was drenched in cold sweat. His shirt was stuck to his body, and the sticky feeling was unbearable. However, Chairman Gu did not dare to move a muscle. The sudden turn of events had caught him, and Guo off guard. Both of them were still in a daze. What the fuck? Big brother Zheng Shuai is talking to you. Are you mute? Zhang Kuke glared at Chairman Gu angrily. Chairman Gu's eyes rolled to the back of his head. Ahem. Ahem. So Zheng Shuai, you were framed? Look at this mess. I didn't know anything about it. I'm so sorry. Now that the truth had come to light, Chairman Gu did not dare to offend Qin Feng anymore. Otherwise, a compensation of 10 billion would be more than enough for him to bear. Chairman Gu, is that all you want to do with an apology? Do you think that I, Zheng Shuai, am a pushover? Qin Feng rolled his eyes at Chairman Gu and said, I see that you really want to terminate the contract with me. Fine, I won't force you. If you really don't like my role in Hedonist Sovereign, then I won't do it anymore. You have to compensate me. As soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, Ma Xinxin extended her hand to Chairman Gu, as if she was going to take the money. Chairman Gu was drenched in cold sweat again. He felt as if he had just taken a shower. Hehe. Mr. Zheng Shuai, you must be joking. How could I not like you? Your qualities are very suitable for the role of the male lead in Hedonist Sovereign. This movie is yours. I wouldn't be interested in anyone else. Chairman Gu was an old hand at changing his attitude faster than flipping the pages of a book. At first he was arrogantly suppressing Qin Feng, but in the blink of an eye, he was praising Qin Feng. It was as if he wanted to acknowledge Qin Feng as his father. Chapter 907. Chairman Gu questioned Qin Feng's words, but he could only hide his doubts in his heart. On the surface he smiled and said, Yes, yes. Mr. Zheng Shuai's heart is as broad as the sea. Since it's a misunderstanding, I'll take my leave first. I won't disturb your gathering. Chairman Gu wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and stood up to leave. Halfway through, Qin Feng's icy voice sounded behind him. Chairman Gu, I don't mind if you say it's a misunderstanding, but it's already happened. Are you going to leave without giving me an explanation? Chairman Gu was so frightened that he stopped abruptly. A powerful aura shot out from Qin Feng's body, suffocating him. It was a strange feeling. Chairman Gu felt his legs were as heavy as lead, and he couldn't run even if he wanted to. Mr. Zheng Shuai, how do you want to solve this? Chairman Gu was uncertain, so he asked for Qin Feng's opinion first. This time, Guo purposely set me up. Chairman Gu, do you really have nothing to do with this? You don't know anything about it? Qin Feng's eyes emitted a cold light, and Chairman Gu trembled in fear. Before meeting Qin Feng, Chairman Gu had only heard of the term murderous aura. However, at this moment, Chairman Gu could clearly feel the dense murderous aura. It was as if the murderous aura had solidified. If Qin Feng displeased him, Chairman Gu felt he would die. Under the suppression of stage 9 inner chi, Chairman Gu didn't hesitate at all. He turned around and kicked Guatao, causing Guatao to shriek in shock. Ah! Chairman Gu, what are you doing? Damn you, Guatao. How dare you set up a trap for Mr. Zheng Shuai? I've trusted you and even focused on nurturing you. Look at the disgusting things you've done. I'll stomp you to death. Chairman Gu stomped on Guatao and signaled him with his eyes. He wanted to knock Guatao out, so he wouldn't have to worry about Guatao spilling the beans. Chairman Gu, it's not my fault. And it's not your fault. Guatao's bones were about to fall apart from the fall, so he couldn't withstand Chairman Gu's stomping. Guatao shouted for Chairman Gu to stop, but Chairman Gu panicked and stomped even more violently. Bang! Bang! The whole room was filled with the sound of people stepping on people. Ma Xin, Rauscher Man, and Big Sis Ling were dumbfounded. The situation had changed so quickly that the three women's brains couldn't keep up with it. Zhang Kuku, on the other hand, was not afraid of making things worse. She jumped up and down, applauding and cheering. However, her words of encouragement left Mr. Gu speechless. Oh! Great, dog bite dog, dog bite dog. Bah! I was blind to have taken a liking to a shameless person like you. In the future, you better scram as far as you can. Don't let me see you in Hong Kong again. Manager Gu only stopped when he felt weak. Fortunately, Guatao was already in a daze and seemed to be unable to speak. Mr. Zheng Shuai, I really don't know about your incident. It's all that bastard Guatao's doing. I only heard the news earlier and thought that you really acted like a big shot and beat up a famous farmer. I brought Guatao here to interrogate you in a fit of anger. After beating up Guatao, Chairman Gu immediately changed his attitude to one of friendliness and friendliness. His change of attitude was faster than a chameleon. The women were speechless again. Now that the truth has come to light and Mr. Zheng Shuai's name has been cleared, I'm really happy for you. As for that bastard Guatao, I'll fire him in front of everyone. From now on, Hong Kong's House of Millions Media Group will have nothing to do with him. Mr. Gu was indeed a seasoned driver, with the central bomb in his pocket. His trick of burning the bridge after crossing the river was not subtle at all. In order to help Mr. Gu chase Qin Feng away, Guatao had been beaten and scolded. In the end, he was fired. Guatao's eyes rolled back, and he fainted from anger. Do you really want to fire Guatao? Zhang Kuka suddenly asked Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu was very dissatisfied with this nickname, but he couldn't say it out loud. He said in an indifferent tone, Guatao is a scum. He's completely against the pursuit and purpose of House of Millions Media Group. You don't have to persuade me anymore. Today I'll fire him. Before Manager Gu could finish his words, a series of slapping sounds were heard. Everyone quickly turned to the door and saw Zhang Kuku had taken out a fly swatter and was slapping Guatao's head. You big fly. Who asked you to frame Big Brother Zheng Shuai? Today Kuku will get rid of a scourge for the sake of the people. I'll beat you to death, you stinky fly. Everyone's mouth twitched violently. They were speechless. Zhang Kuku slapped Guatao to her heart's content. After a while, Qin Feng regained his senses and said, Kuku, that's enough. Don't kill the fly and dirty the house. Zhang Kuku was very obedient to Qin Feng. Even Qin Feng couldn't figure out why. Zhang Kuku immediately ran back to Qin Feng's side after Qin Feng said he would stop slapping Guatao. Mr. Gu looked at the large fly swatter in Zhang Kuku's hand. He was afraid that this crazy woman would slap him on the head. Ahem. If there's nothing else, I'll go and book a private room. I've wronged Mr. Zheng Shuai today. I'll treat everyone to dinner tonight as an apology. This time Qin Feng didn't stop him. It was not a big deal to get rid of a small fry like Guatao. However, it was not the time for Qin Feng to shed all pretense of cordiality with Mr. Gu yet. Qin Feng still had to film the movie Hedonist Sovereign. If Mr. Gu was chased away, who would invest in the movie and promote Qin Feng's movie? The ladies heaved a sigh of relief after Mr. Gu left. The incident of Zheng Shuai assaulting Guatao was too violent. The ladies were scared out of their wits. Now that the situation had calmed down, Qin Feng seized the opportunity to make a name for himself. Everyone was happy for Qin Feng. Ma Xin had already kicked Guatao out of the room. They sat on the sofa and continued to watch the news. The incident became more and more popular. In the end, it was broadcast on the evening news. The program dedicated 5 minutes to narrating the incident. At night, Qin Feng brought the ladies to the same place where they had dinner last night. From start to finish, Mr. Gu welcomed them with a smile. He was courteous and respectful to everyone. He did not mention the incident of Zheng Shuai assaulting Guitao. It was as if it had never happened. However, no one saw Guitao that night. It seemed like Guitao had been fired by Mr. Gu. Without such a troublesome person, everyone was in a good mood. The dinner was lively and colorful. Qin Feng had a great time with Ma Xinxin and the ladies. In the end, Mr. Gu was ignored by everyone. No one spoke to him or offered him a toast. However, Mr. Gu was not in the mood to be angry. He forced a smile and sat with Qin Feng and the ladies. Finally, the banquet ended. The pretty girls bade Qin Feng farewell and left. Ma Xinxin was afraid that it would cause a misunderstanding, so she followed them to her room. Qin Feng and Mr. Gu walked together in the corridor. Mr. Gu was so scared that his palms broke out in cold sweat. He did not dare to speak to Qin Feng. By the way, Mr. Gu, it's about time to start filming the movie Hedonist Sovereign. Otherwise, it's not good for us to waste our time like this. Qin Feng suddenly said. Mr. Gu's heart skipped a beat. He still did not want Qin Feng to be the male lead. Haha, Mr. Zheng Shuai, don't be in such a hurry. The celebrity share hasn't arrived yet. It's not easy to film this movie. Mr. Gu used shares matter as an excuse again. Qin Feng smiled and said, Mr. Gu, I've studied the script carefully. Share scenes are scheduled to appear in the middle of the movie. We can film the early part of the plot first. When we're halfway through, Share will appear. Mr. Gu rolled his eyes. This time, he could not refute Qin Feng. Ahem. Mr. Zheng Shuai, it's just a matter of 2 or 3 days. Don't worry, I'll pay you according to your salary. I won't let you and the pretty girls waste your time waiting for someone. Qin Feng could tell that Mr. Gu had not given up. He was still looking for an opportunity to get rid of him. Mr. Gu, I'm not happy with your words. Do you think that I, Zheng Shuai, am someone who cares about my salary? I only came to film because I had my eyes on the script of Hedonist Sovereign. I'm usually busy, not for money, but for my pursuit of artistic life. Either you start filming tomorrow, or I'll leave tomorrow. Transfer the money from breaking the contract to my account. Anyway, Boss Gu isn't someone who lacks money. Qin Feng only had 3 months before he had to challenge the dragon god again. He did not have time to waste with Mr. Gu. Mr. Gu was put in a difficult position. He really did not want Qin Feng to be the male lead. If he did, wouldn't the most popular IP adaptation of 2016 be ruined? Alright, we'll start filming tomorrow. Mr. Gu hesitated for a moment before agreeing. What could he do if he did not agree? However, Mr. Gu had already made up his mind. At most, he would film 2 scenes first. After that, he would find a way to get rid of Qin Feng. After that, he would find a new actor and reshoot all of Qin Feng's scenes. That's right. The earlier we finish filming, the earlier we can release it. The earlier we can sell the box office. Qin Feng laughed. Mr. Gu was filled with disdain. You want to sell the box office with your looks? You made a good idol drama into a horror film. However, Mr. Gu did not dare to say this in front of Qin Feng. He laughed and said, Haha, that's right. I believe that with Mr. Zheng Shuai's current fame, once this drama is released, it will set a new record in China's box office. That's true, that's true. Alright, I've seen the script. The first scene has a bed scene. This bed scene doesn't seem very good. Qin Feng suddenly brought up the topic of the script. The bed scene was what he was most concerned about. Mr. Gu was about to bring up this matter. How could he let Qin Feng film the bed scene? Wouldn't that be pushing the beautiful girls into the fire pit? Chairman Gu planned to take advantage of this filming opportunity to get the 2 women into bed. If Qin Feng shot the bed scene first, Chairman Gu might not have the appetite to make a move on the beauties. Mr. Zheng Shuai is indeed a gentleman. Since you don't want to film the bed scene, I'll get the production department to change the script, Mr. Gu said decisively. Qin Feng hurriedly waved his hand. No. Mr. Gu, you've misunderstood me. I just feel that the bed scene is only set for 10 minutes. Isn't that too short? How can it reflect my power and masculinity? Mr. Gu was stunned. His brain couldn't process what Qin Feng was saying. He instinctively asked, "Then how long do you plan to film?" "At least 45 minutes. That's just enough for one class." Mr. Gu rolled his eyes and nearly fainted from anger. 45 minutes was just enough for half of the movie. You want me to use half of the movie's time for your bed scene? The SARFT will kill me. Chapter 908. Qin Feng was skilled, had a mysterious identity, and was a strange person. President Gu could not win against Qin Feng, so he had to compromise with Qin Feng for the time being. Cher hadn't arrived yet, but at Qin Feng's request, Hedonist Sovereign officially began filming. The filming location was in the suburbs of Hong Kong, and the first scene was a scene of the hero saving a damsel in distress, and a sex scene. This was Qin Feng's first time acting in a movie. He rushed to the theater with the pretty girl group, and Ma Xinxin early in the morning. Qin Feng was overjoyed when he saw the rows of beautiful women standing around him. After all, these women were the female leads of Hedonist Sovereign. Rao Sherman and Zhang Keke wore sunglasses and sun hats. Sister Ling was responsible for holding umbrellas for them. Zhang Keke found a pair of men's sunglasses and insisted on letting Qin Feng wear them. Ma Xinxin followed Qin Feng and held the umbrellas for him. The three of them looked like superstars. As soon as they arrived at the theater, everyone turned to look at them. Haha, the three of you are finally here. The other supporting roles are ready, and we can start shooting at any time. President Gu was personally responsible for the filming of the movie after Guitao was fired. After all, Hedonist Sovereign was President Gu's most popular IP work this year. He was very concerned about the effects and quality of this movie. The second and third-rate actors were envious of President Gu because the pretty girl group was a rising star in the Chinese music industry. Many people in the theater did not even know them. However, the moment they saw Qin Feng, the crowd went wild. Zheng Shuai's assault incident had caused a huge uproar yesterday. No one expected that Zheng Shuai would appear in the theater today. When they found out that the male lead of Hedonist Sovereign was Qin Feng, everyone's expression changed, and the atmosphere became strange. Qin Feng ignored everyone's strange gazes and paid no attention to their discussion. He looked at President Gu and said with a smile, "President Gu, you should have done what we agreed on last night, right?" Qin Feng spoke in code and acted mysteriously. Ma Xinxin and the other two women looked at Qin Feng and President Gu in confusion. They had no idea what kind of shady deal they were making. Chairman Gu's mouth twitched. He originally thought that Qin Feng would forget about this after a night of sleep. However, it seemed that this brat most likely wanted to play the male lead, because there were many female leads in this movie, and there were plenty of sex scenes. Hehe, Mr. Zheng Shuai, don't worry. I've increased the original 10 minutes to 20 minutes. Are you satisfied now? Only 20 minutes? Sigh. Qin Feng shook his head and sighed. He was obviously dissatisfied. Chairman Gu wanted nothing more than to slap Qin Feng to death. Do you want to put on a 100-minute bed scene? I'll just turn the whole movie into an AV. Brother Zheng Shuai, what are you guys talking about? 10 minutes 1 minute, 20 minutes the next? What are you going to do? Zhang Keke stuck her head out and looked at Qin Feng curiously. Qin Feng blushed when he saw her innocent face. Hehe. Chairman Gu, let's make it 20 minutes. Let's hurry up and start filming. Qin Feng didn't answer Zhang Keke's question. Chairman Gu turned around and started cursing Qin Feng in a low voice. What the fuck was this? She had never seen such a vulgar actor. Come. Director and cameraman, please take your places. The extras and supporting actors should take care of themselves. Don't steal the show or act recklessly. Otherwise, you won't have a lunchbox for lunch. Chairman Gu started out as a director. After shooting so many movies, he was quite famous in the director's circle. He was the one who directed a few of his previous movies. Since Chairman Gu had spoken, everyone got into position. The first camera cut to Qin Feng's face. Qin Feng had read the script of this movie before. This scene was about a hero saving a damsel in distress. Qin Feng met a beautiful girl group called Cauliflower on the mountainside. Both of their legs were crooked. Qin Feng used his miraculous medical skills to save them from the mountainside. Then he rested in a small temple. Since Qin Feng was handsome and had an innate domineering aura, the beautiful girl group was deeply attracted to Qin Feng. This kind of brainless and melodramatic plot was very popular in this impetuous and noisy society. Almost every movie made was a hit. Even Chairman Gu had no idea how this kind of plot could become so popular. However, Chairman Gu discovered a strange phenomenon. Every time a movie was missing a bed scene, the movie would fail. Action! Chairman Gu personally tapped the clappers, and the shooting officially began. 3 cameras were aimed at Qin Feng and followed him from every angle. When the cameramen saw Qin Feng in the camera, they almost fainted from shock. Chairman Gu must have taken things too hard lately. Why did he hire this kind of person to be the main character? Qin Feng's expression was solemn. He was already immersed in his role. With light steps, he reached the foot of the mountain in no time. At this moment, Zhang Kuku's yellow-like cry for help came from above. "Ah! Is there anyone here? Please save me and my sister. We've sprained our ankle. We're willing to sleep with anyone who can save us." All the crew members were immersed in the shooting when they were stunned by Zhang Kuku's words. Chairman Gu was fuming with anger. However, he could not reprimand Zhang Kuku in public. He said patiently, "Kuku, you can't say that. This is a movie. You must be more serious and stop throwing a tantrum." Zhang Kuku realized that she had said the wrong thing. She nodded and said, "I know." Chairman Gu shouted again. Everyone took their positions. Is there anyone here? Please save me and my sister. We've sprained our ankle. We're willing to sleep with anyone who can save us." Zhang Kuku changed her words. However, Chairman Gu and his crew members fainted from anger. "Ha ha ha. Superstar Kuku, can you stop torturing your little brother? You have to follow the script. How can you change your lines?" This was the first time Chairman Gu met such a low-level actress like Zhang Kuku. How did she sneak in? Zhang Kuku was immersed in her acting. She felt that her acting was very good. Her expression was on point, and her voice was alluring. It was Chairman Gu's fault. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You've wasted so much of my time. You're so annoying." Zhang Kuku reprimanded Chairman Gu. Chairman Gu's face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. He refused to communicate with Zhang Kuku. Action! Before the shooting even started, they had to redo it for the 3rd time. This time, Zhang Kuku acted normally. She followed the script perfectly. "Is there anyone here? Please save me and my sister." At this moment, a silhouette flashed. The main character, Qin Feng, appeared in front of Zhang Kuku and Wuxia man. His body shimmered with a bright light. "Miss, I'm Qin Feng. I happened to pass by and heard your cry for help. Is there anything I can do to help you?" Although it was Qin Feng's first time acting, his acting skills had shocked everyone. Ma Xinxin ignored Qin Feng's appearance. She felt that he was shining with a bright light. Even Chairman Gu, who disliked Qin Feng, had his mouth agape. "This Zheng Shuai is not bad. He has a pretentious air about him. I don't even need to edit the scenes. Hero, please save me and my sister. We came to Wuxia Mountain to collect herbs today, but we sprained our ankle. Please take off my shoes and help me massage my ankle." Zhang Kuku was so excited when she saw Qin Feng. She jumped up and grabbed Qin Feng's arm to act like a spoiled child. How did she look like she sprained her ankle? She's even more energetic than an ordinary person. CEO Gu was utterly speechless. He didn't even have the mood to shout "Ka." After all, they wouldn't need to use the scenes they were shooting now anyway. CEO Gu had already planned to kick Qin Feng out and reshoot the scene. Now he had another idea, which was to kick the idiot Zhang Kuku out as well. "Kuku, stop talking. Don't scare the hero." Wuxia man could not stand it anymore. She hastily pulled Zhang Kuku back to her seat. Qin Feng ignored Zhang Kuku. This woman had dragged down his acting skills. He squatted down, moved closer to Wuxia man and asked, "Miss, I know a little about acupuncture. I can treat your sprained ankle. If you trust me, I'll take off your clothes and insert a few needles into your chest." Wuxia man was stunned. She had no choice but to accept Qin Feng's request. Rao Sherman was stunned. Young hero, I only sprained my ankle. Why do you need to prick my chest? Qin Feng realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He blushed and coughed dryly. Ahem. I'm sorry. It was a slip of the tongue. The entire crew was amused by Qin Feng, and the other two. How is this a school drama about pretentious idols? This was clearly a silly and idiotic drama. However, since Chairman Gu did not stop them, they did not care about it. As the filming went on, they found this kind of acting style quite amusing. Qin Feng had already removed Rao Sherman's shoes. His hands were on Rao Sherman's calves. Their hearts raced when they felt the smooth and delicate skin. Zhang Kuku was displeased when she was left alone. Hero Qin Feng, can you help Kuku first? I've already removed her shoes. Qin Feng glanced at Zhang Kuku, and the corner of his mouth twitched. This lass has already removed her shoes. Don't worry, ladies. I know a little about acupuncture. I can perform acupuncture on both of you at the same time. Qin Feng's acting was so good that Chairman Gu could not help but praise him. Performing acupuncture with both hands at the same time. And you still have the cheek to say that you know a little about acupuncture? That's great acting. I give you full marks. 2 silver needles suddenly appeared in Qin Feng's hands. It was as if they were alive. Qin Feng started to perform acupuncture on Rao Sherman and Zhang Kuku's legs. Ah, Hero Qin Feng, are you for real? Aren't we filming a drama? I didn't sprain my legs. Don't hurt them. Zhang Kuku shrieked. And Chairman Gu was so angry that he wanted to scold Qin Feng again. Rao Sherman was also a little nervous. However, when she saw Qin Feng's solemn expression and skillful technique, she swallowed her words. The acupuncture was very fast. It was as if the process had ended before it even started. Chapter 909. Qin Feng withdrew the needles and ran down the mountain with Rao Sherman in his arms. Before Rao Sherman could prepare herself, she was already in Qin Feng's arms. Qin Feng carried her like a princess. He couldn't help but pinch Rao Sherman's slender waist. When Zhang Kuku came back to her senses, Qin Feng had almost reached the foot of the mountain. She chased after him angrily. Hey! Hero Qin Feng, don't forget me. Qin Feng shouted without turning his head. Run down by yourself. I don't have the time to save you. Qin Feng ran with Rao Sherman in his arms while Zhang Kuku chased after him with all her might. Everyone was dumbfounded by this scene. What kind of drama is this? The script was changed so much that it was unbearable to watch. Ma Xinxin and Sister Ling were rocking back and forth in laughter, and some of the supporting actors were also amused. Bosku's face, which had turned black from anger, suddenly twitched a few times. He wanted to laugh, but he held it in. Due to Qin Feng's fast speed, Rao Sherman had no choice but to hug Qin Feng's neck tightly. Their bodies bumped into each other from time to time. Rao Sherman was so embarrassed that she wanted to bury herself in a hole. Rao Sherman was in a daze. She suddenly blamed herself. I like Qin Feng, so how could I hug Zheng Shuai so ambiguously? However, Zheng Shuai was running too fast, so Rao Sherman didn't dare to let go. If she did, she would roll down the mountain. Quick, it's time for the bed scene. Quick, switch to the bed scene. Qin Feng shouted at Chairman Gu as soon as he reached the foot of the mountain. He was still dozens of meters away from Chairman Gu. All the staff members couldn't hold back their laughter. They laughed until tears streamed down their cheeks. Chairman Gu's nose twitched. He waved his hand and shouted, Cameramen and lighting technicians, go to the temple. The rest of you wait outside. The group of people followed Qin Feng into the shabby little temple. There was already a wooden bed inside, and it was surrounded by a straw mat. Some broken pieces of wood were scattered all over the ground, and there were cobwebs on the roof and walls. This was a small temple that had been abandoned for many years, specially chosen for the filming effect. Qin Feng's interest was piqued the moment he entered the temple. Are we filming a bed scene in a place like this? It's so cool. Phew. Great hero Qin Feng, you're too unkind. You've left a weak girl on the mountain. What if a jackal, wolf, tiger, or leopard comes after you? Zhang Kuku chased after Qin Feng. This little girl's stamina and speed were not to be underestimated. Qin Feng ignored Zhang Kuku and yelled at CEO Gu. Get the male cameraman out of the room. Leave the female cameraman in the room. I'm willing to sacrifice myself for the sake of the artistic effect. I want the bed scene to be real. Don't try to talk me out of it. I'm a man of my word. Qin Feng listed a bunch of requests, and everyone was dumbfounded. Rao Sherman finally extricated herself from Qin Feng's embrace. She was so embarrassed that her cheeks were completely red. Rao Sherman almost ran away in fright when she heard that they were going to turn the act into reality. Chairman Gu had already planned to reshoot the movie after the fact. He didn't mind if it continued to be a spoof. Whatever Qin Feng said was the truth. Very soon, all the men in the temple left, leaving only Qin Feng. Rao Sherman hid far away from Qin Feng. Were they really going to shoot a bed scene? Beauty Sherman, I've saved your life just now. I don't ask for anything in return, so please do as you see fit, Qin Feng said as he sat on the wooden bed. The female directors couldn't stop laughing. Rao Sherman lowered her head and dared not to approach Qin Feng. Suddenly, a beautiful figure jumped out and pounced on Qin Feng. Great hero Qin Feng, my big sister is shy. I'll repay you on her behalf. Maybe she'll find it fun and join us when we're doing it. The person who pounced on Qin Feng was Zhang Kuku. Qin Feng was almost crushed to death by this girl. Qin Feng didn't dare to mess around with Zhang Kuku. If he really pushed her down, she might do something shocking. Qin Feng hastily pushed Zhang Kuku away and said sternly, Go to the side and wait. We'll do it one by one. Why? I want to go first. Are you looking down on me? How am I inferior to my big sister? Zhang Kuku glared at Qin Feng angrily. Qin Feng kept looking at Rao Sherman, but Rao Sherman refused to look at him. Young hero Qin Feng, thank you for saving our lives, but my little sister and I can't repay you with our bodies. We have to at least get to know each other first. Rao Sherman was shy for a long time, but she finally spoke. Beauty Sherman, do you want to add me on WeChat first? Qin Feng asked. Let's add each other on WeChat first. We'll talk about other things after we get to know each other better. Rao Sherman walked up to Qin Feng and held Zhang Kuku's hand. After exchanging WeChat numbers with Qin Feng, she hastily said, Great hero Qin Feng, if fate allows it, we'll meet again. Rao Sherman and Zhang Kuku disappeared from Qin Feng's sight. Qin Feng heaved a long sigh and said, It's over, it's over. I won't be able to see these two little beauties anymore. How am I supposed to meet them in the future? Click. Chairman Gu walked into the small temple and heaved a long sigh of relief. This scene is finally over. When everyone walked out of the small temple, the extras and some of the crew members were still laughing nonstop. Zhang Kuku hastily ran to Chairman Gu's side and asked in a serious tone, What the fuck? Didn't we put on a good show just now? Chairman Gu's mouth twitched violently. He forced a smile and said, Haha, great. You guys did a great job. We didn't even need to reshoot the scene. Haha, I knew it would be like this. My acting skills are top-notch. I've even undergone special training in the past. Zhang Kuku was overjoyed. Chairman Gu made a mental note of the name, acting school. He swore that he would never hire someone from the acting school to act in the future. Today's scene was finally over. It was surprisingly smooth, to the point that Qin Feng felt a little regretful. Where's the bed scene? It didn't even start. Thank you for your hard work. Today's scene is over. Go and get your bento boxes. Chairman Gu hastily dismissed the crew members and the extras. He was afraid that Qin Feng and the others would not be satisfied, and wanted to reshoot the scene. After everyone left, Chairman Gu cheerfully welcomed Qin Feng and the others to the restaurant. Suddenly his phone rang. What? Snow is here? Okay. Take Snow to the International Hotel. I'll be there now. Chairman Gu hung up the phone with a gloomy expression. Whatever he was worried about had come true. Chairman Gu, I heard that Snow is here. Qin Feng smiled. Haha, she's here. She just got off the plane. Let's go back to the hotel now. We can have lunch together and get to know each other. Chairman Gu couldn't express the grievance in his heart. He had to accompany Qin Feng and the others with a smile. Everyone rushed to the International Hotel. Qin Feng was very excited. He didn't get to film the bed scene today. He wondered if Snow was a more open-minded celebrity. Chairman Gu. When they reached the entrance of the hotel, the 3 representatives of House of Millions Media were already waiting for them. Snow is already here? Chairman Gu, Miss Snow is in the banquet hall. She just arrived less than 5 minutes ago. All right. Do what you need to do. I'll stay here. Chairman Gu sent the 3 representatives away. Then, he led Qin Feng and the others into the hotel. They were having lunch in the same banquet hall as the previous 2 times. Chairman Gu had booked the entire place. Aya, Miss Xue, you're finally here. As soon as they entered the house, Chairman Gu greeted Cher politely. Cher stood up and smiled sweetly. Chairman Gu, you're too kind. I've just finished dealing with some matters recently, so I'm a little late. I hope Chairman Gu doesn't mind. Both of them exchanged some pleasantries. Then, Chairman Gu began to introduce the guests. Miss Snow. These 2 are the popular singers and beauties in the mainland. That one is the hottest celebrity in the entertainment circle, Zheng Shuai. And this is Miss Snow. Snow is the representative of China's youth idol series. Every movie she has taken on has been a hit in the box office. They were all in the entertainment circle. Though they had never met each other before, they had heard of each other's names. Cher didn't put on any airs either. She was dressed in a white princess dress, looking as cute and moving as the girl next door. Sherman Cuckoo, I've been listening to your songs. I like both of you very much. We've watched your movies. You're really good at acting. You're almost as good as Cuckoo. Zhang Cuckoo said with a smile. Everyone was speechless. Clearly, they doubted Zhang Cuckoo's words. The 3 women chatted for a while. Suddenly Snow's gaze fell on Qin Feng. A strange light flashed in the depth of her eyes. She smiled brightly and said, Superstar Zheng Shuai, I've heard a lot about you. You're the male lead of Hedonist Sovereign. I hope we can work well together. If Mr. Zheng Shuai is free, please come to Snow's room and we can talk about acting. As soon as Shuai saw Qin Feng, she took the initiative to invite Qin Feng to her room after dinner. Everyone was stunned. Rao Sherman and the other 2 women looked at Qin Feng strangely. Ma Xinxin, who was standing next to Qin Feng, secretly pinched his lower back. Who is this Qin Feng? Why does every beauty have an affair with him? Qin Feng felt wronged. After all, he had nothing to do with Cher. This was their first time meeting. Yet Qin Feng was confused as to why Cher would take the initiative to invite him. It didn't make any sense. Suddenly, the system's notification rang in Qin Feng's mind. The new mission shocked Qin Feng. Ding! The Hedonist Sovereign System has issued a new mission. Devour the Sovereign Superstar System. Time limit, 6 months. If the mission is cleared, the system will reward host Qin Feng 100,000 Hedonist points, a system unsealing tool, and a rare pink equipment lucky draw ticket. If the mission is failed, 200,000 Hedonist points will be deducted, and host Qin Feng will lose the ability to devour other systems. When the system notification rang, Little Pig's shriek rang in Qin Feng's mind. Master! There's another system within a 1-kilometer radius. Qin Feng was so shocked that he couldn't come back to his senses. Ever since he obtained the system, he had been thinking about one question. Where did the system come from? Was there only one system? Chapter 9-10. There are other owners of systems? How many systems are there on Earth? How powerful are these systems? Are they as powerful as my system? In an instant, Qin Feng's mind exploded. Countless thoughts surged into his mind, but he couldn't answer a single question. Little Pig, confirm the owner of the Sovereign Superstar System for me. Qin Feng hurriedly said to Little Pig after regaining his senses. Master, every system has its own protection and concealment function. There's no way to directly locate the owner of the system. Right now, the Hedonist Sovereign System can only confirm the existence of a system within a 1-kilometer radius. Little Pig's anxious voice contained a trace of excitement. There's no way to locate the owner? Then the owner of the Sovereign Superstar System can't locate me either, right? Qin Feng immediately realized another serious problem. Since the hedonist sovereign system had just issued a devouring quest, would other systems also want to devour his system? This was truly a man-eat-man, no, a system-eat-system society. Don't worry, Master. The sovereign superstar system is much weaker than Master's system. Although it can identify us, the range has to be reduced to within 100 meters. Moreover, the sovereign superstar system can't locate Master. As long as Master is careful and doesn't expose yourself, everything will be fine. Little Pig's words calmed Qin Feng down. Wuxia man and the other women stared at Qin Feng strangely. Snow had asked Qin Feng many times, but Qin Feng didn't reply. Mr. Zheng Shuai, are you listening to me? I really like your songs. Let's talk more in the future. Qin Feng suddenly regained his senses. As soon as he saw Snow, the system notified him that a system had appeared within a 1-kilometer radius. Coincidentally, Snow was a superstar. Could the owner of the sovereign superstar system be Snow? Haha. To think that a superstar like Shui would pay attention to my song. I'm overwhelmed by the favor and shocked. Qin Feng hurriedly calmed down and returned to his usual carefree self. A strange light flashed through Snow's beautiful eyes. She smiled and said, Mr. Zheng Shuai, you're too courteous. You're much more popular than any of us here. It's only natural that we become your fans. Snow spoke very politely, and her words and actions had the demeanor of a big shot. Her every frown and smile was like a spring breeze. Qin Feng almost lost himself in her. Since Miss Cher is really my fan, I'll sit next to you tonight. We can talk more during dinner. Qin Feng casually sat down next to Shui. Shui didn't object, and a sweet smile hung on her face. Wuxia man and the other two girls didn't know Qin Feng's intentions. In their opinion, Qin Feng's dissolute personality was acting up again. Hee. Everyone, please take a seat. It's my honor to be able to dine with China's top celebrities. President Gu greeted everyone with a smile. Everyone took their seats. Ma Xinxin seemed to be throwing a tantrum. She sat with Wuxia man, Zhang Kuku, and Sister Ling. Chairman Gu sat beside her while Qin Feng and Shui sat at the head of the table. They looked like a couple. CEO Gu, what time are we filming tomorrow? You have to be early. Today was Zhang Kuku's first time filming, and she was addicted to it. Other actors would laze around in bed, but Zhang Kuku was the complete opposite. She was as excited as if she was on steroids. President Gu was depressed. He thought, great madam, please spare me. However, on the surface, he put on an amiable smile and said, Hey, superstar Kuku, let's go with the usual schedule. You have to consider other people's schedule. Not everyone can wake up so early. Zhang Kuku felt that President Gu's words made sense. She pouted and glared at President Gu, but she didn't refute him. Qin Feng chatted with Shui as soon as he sat down. Shui was Qin Feng's biggest suspect. He wanted to investigate whether Shui was the owner of the ultimate superstar system or not. Beauty Shui, you're as amazing as me. We're both superstars who rose to fame overnight. I heard that you only became famous half a year ago. Were you a student of the National Film Academy before that? Shui was taken aback by Qin Feng's sudden question. She replied, No, I'm not. I'm actually an amateur. It's all thanks to director Lian. He's the one who discovered me and brought me into the industry. Shui spoke vaguely, avoiding the important points and dwelling on the trivial ones. Beauty Shui, you're not a graduate of the National Film Academy? Then you must be a natural-born actor. Your acting is very realistic. You're even better than those who graduated from the National Film Academy. Don't praise me, I'll be shy. Actually, my acting is just so-so. It's mainly because of the script. I believe that someone else can become famous as well. Shui was very modest. She didn't answer any of Qin Feng's questions. However, Qin Feng's curiosity about Shui grew. This woman seemed to be quite mysterious. Half a year ago, she suddenly became famous all over the country, but she was not a graduate of the National Film Academy. Don't just talk about me. Tell me about you. You weren't famous before this. You're even better than me. It's only within this month that you suddenly became famous. Shui suddenly changed the topic to Qin Feng. Haha. I'm lucky that I caught the eye of young Master Yang Ken of Starlight Media. He's willing to support me, so it'd be hard for me not to become famous. Qin Feng casually made up an excuse. Shui Er's starry eyes twinkled. She smiled and said, "It's useless to just support you. The main thing is that you sing well." "Oh right, I've never heard of you before. Judging from your voice and aura, you're obviously from the National Film Academy. Which music academy did you graduate from?" Qin Feng asked Shui Er all the questions he had before. Now Qin Feng realized how tricky his questions were. Even he didn't know how to answer them. Haha. I'm also an amateur. When I wasn't popular, I worked at a construction site. I sang every day as I moved bricks. My coworkers thought my voice was good, so they made me a singer. I didn't think that young Master Yang Qin would take a liking to me. I guess I was born with a good voice. Shui Er didn't seem to believe Qin Feng's words. She suddenly fell silent. It was understandable that Qin Feng was born with a good voice, but his aura was very stable. He had perfect control over the transition between true and false voice, and the sudden rise in pitch. Only a singer who had specially trained his aura could do this. Snow and Qin Feng suddenly stopped talking. The two of them had been chatting enthusiastically just a second ago, but now, they were sitting there like two strangers. As Ma Xinxin and the other two women ate, they kept an eye on Qin Feng's situation. When they saw this scene, the three women cursed Qin Feng in their hearts. This guy must have said something vulgar to share, and she was so angry that she ignored him. The meal was a little strange. Nobody spoke a word during the second half of the meal. They lowered their heads and ate. "I'm done. What about you, Mr. Zheng Shui?" Shui Er suddenly put down her bowl and chopsticks and stood up. "Me too," Qin Feng said with a smile. "Would you like to come to my room, Mr. Zheng Shui? Actually, I like music very much, so I'd like to chat with you." Shui Er took the initiative to invite Qin Feng. "Sure." Qin Feng didn't think too much about it. The two of them bade farewell and left. Zhang Kuku snorted disdainfully as she watched the two of them leave. "TSK. There's a rumor in the entertainment circle that Shui Er is a pure and innocent girl. But in my opinion, she's just a coquettish young married woman. Sherman and I are professionals in music, and we're both women. Why didn't she come to us to chat about music? She must have gone to bed to study her body," Zhang Kuku grumbled. Everyone heard Zhang Kuku's complaint loud and clear. Rao Sherman smacked Zhang Kuku's hand with her chopsticks and said, "You talk too much. Hurry up and finish your meal and come back with me." Zhang Kuku was not a talkative person, and what she said made sense. Qin Feng also thought of this, so he felt that there was something wrong with Shui Er. That was why he followed Shui Er to her room. As soon as they entered the room, Shui Er's fragrance assailed their nostrils. "It's a little abrupt to invite Mr. Zheng Shui to my room on our first day, but Shui Er really likes your songs. I hope you won't overthink it, Mr. Zheng Shui." Once they entered the room, Shui Er took off her red coat and hung it on the hanger. She wore a white sweater underneath that accentuated her curvaceous figure. "You're worrying too much, Miss Shui Er. I'm here to chat about music." Qin Feng took off his shoes and sat on the sofa. After Shui Er changed her shoes, she sat across from Qin Feng and poured him a cup of hot tea. "Mr. Zheng Shui, do you have a treasure?" Shui Er said she wanted to chat about music, but she didn't mean it. Qin Feng was taken aback. He looked between his legs and answered, "Yes, I do." Shui Er ignored Qin Feng's gaze. A glint flashed across her eyes as she asked, "Can you show me your treasure?" Even a hedonistic young master like Qin Feng was embarrassed by Shui Er's straightforwardness. He blushed and said, "Now. Of course. I love collecting treasures. I like to see all kinds of treasures," Shui Er said seriously. Qin Feng didn't expect Shui Er to be so bold. He stood up and prepared to remove his belt. Shui Er stared at Qin Feng in disbelief. "Stop. What are you doing?" Qin Feng hurriedly sat back down. "Aren't you looking at treasures?" Shui Er stared blankly for a full 10 seconds. When she regained her composure, a look of disgust flashed across her eyes. "I am not talking about that treasure. I am talking about something even more powerful." Qin Feng was confused by Shui Er's words. "Do you mean Africans?" "What Africans?" Shui Er was confused. I mean the elephant people. They're even more powerful. Qin Feng said seriously. Shui Er rubbed her forehead and resisted the urge to kick Qin Feng out. She explained again. Mr. Zheng Shui, I like to collect antiques and treasures. Do you have such a hobby? Qin Feng quickly regained his composure. He was just teasing Cher, because the first thing he did after he entered the house was to ask Little Pig. Little Pig told him that he could still sense the Supreme Superstar system within a 1-kilometer radius. Chapter 9:11. Hee, so Shui Er is talking about those treasures. Look at my crooked thoughts. I almost misunderstood you. Qin Feng pretended to be enlightened and smiled awkwardly. Still wearing her signature sweet smile, Shui Er asked, Mr. Zheng Shui, what kind of treasures do you usually collect? Snow seemed to be very interested in the treasure. She kept talking about it. Of course I do. Who doesn't like treasures? Qin Feng continued. My family has quite a collection of jade and porcelain. There's an authentic Tang Dynasty tricolor. And there's also an authentic painting by Wang Engshi. Shui Er seemed to be uninterested in the treasures Qin Feng mentioned. She interrupted him with a smile. Mr. Zheng Shui, these treasures are nothing. Do you know anything about the ancient martial arts world? With Zheng Shui and Shui Er's current status, it was not strange for them to know about the ancient martial arts world. Rao Sherman and Zhang Ke knew about the ancient martial arts world, and so did Xiao Gu. Oh, you mean the group of mysterious hermit experts in China? I've heard of their legends, but it's hard to tell the truth. Qin Feng pretended to be shocked. Shui Er stared into Qin Feng's eyes. After a moment of silence, she said, So, Mr. Zheng Shui doesn't know much about the ancient martial arts world, and you've never met a real martial artist? Of course not. Otherwise, I'd quit the entertainment industry and become their disciple. Wouldn't it be better to focus on cultivation? Qin Feng said seriously. Shui Er fell silent again. Qin Feng had no idea what she was thinking. After a while, Shui Er stood up and said with a smile, Mr. Zheng Shui, I'm a little tired. I'm sorry. Qin Feng had just peeled the banana on the table and was about to eat it. He thought the conversation had just started. But Shui Er was asking him to leave? What's this woman thinking? Ah, Miss Shui Er, you don't want to talk? You can talk about other things. I'm sorry. I just rushed here. I'm really tired. The sweet smile on Shui Er's face disappeared. Her voice was filled with an indisputable aura. All right then. I won't disturb Miss Shui Er's rest. Qin Feng returned to his room after leaving Shui Er's room. As soon as he laid down on the sofa, he suddenly sat up straight. He suddenly thought of a serious problem. Little Pig had mentioned before that the owner of the Supreme Superstar system could only sense other systems within a 100-meter radius. This might seem like a disadvantage, but it was actually an advantage. Qin Feng finally understood why Cher wanted to meet him in her room alone. If Cher really was the owner of the ultimate superstar system, then it was very likely that his identity as the owner of the system had been exposed. However, Qin Feng quickly calmed down. He had specifically checked Shui Er's strength, and there was no inner qi flowing in her body. She was completely ordinary. Shui Er he, but she quickly used Shil Er and she have Feng. She to say about Feng too and she a Feng and, therefore, even if Cher discovered that Qin Feng possessed the system, she could only rely on her own abilities to deal with him. She would never reveal this secret to anyone else. Although Qin Feng didn't think Shui Er was a threat to him, he didn't dare to let his guard down. This was the first other system Qin Feng had discovered. He had to be vigilant. Mr. Zheng Shui, what can I do for you? Qin Feng immediately called Chairman Du. Chairman Du, can you send me a copy of Shui Er's information? The more detailed, the better. Qin Feng decided to investigate Shui Er's background and see if he could find any clues. Chairman Du's efficiency exceeded Qin Feng's expectations. 2 minutes after the call ended, Qin Feng received a copy of Shui Er's detailed information. Qin Feng opened the file and read it carefully. The information was very detailed. It started from the time Snow was in middle school, all the way to the present. Shui Er was born in an ordinary family in the provincial capital. Her parents were still alive. They were ordinary factory workers. Shui Er's life was ordinary until she was discovered by director Li and Li half a year ago. She starred in a teen idol drama called My Pure Girlfriend and became an overnight sensation. Qin Feng quickly finished reading the information and lost interest in it. He deleted the file because he could tell that the information was fake. It wasn't Shui Er's real life. Qin Feng knew that Chairman Du wouldn't send him fake information on purpose. Therefore, Shui Er must be the one who faked the information. Qin Feng picked up his phone and dialed another number. Qin Feng, where are you now? Have you solved the problem from last time? Yan Wushuang's voice came from the other side of the phone. Yan Wushuang's voice was indifferent, but it was obvious that she was worried about Qin Feng. Don't worry, Team Leader Yan. I'm doing well. Oh, I need you to help me investigate someone, Qin Feng said. Who? Yan Wushuang was straightforward. Shui Er, the most popular celebrity in the film and television industry. There was silence on the other side of the phone. Of course, Yan Wushuang knew Shui Er. Why did Qin Feng flirt with Shui Er again? Why did he ask her to flirt with Shui Er? How shameless could this man be? Do it yourself if you want. Yan Wushuang complained. Qin Feng could smell her jealousy through the phone. Qin Feng was speechless. He quickly explained. Team Leader Yan, please don't misunderstand me. I have nothing to do with Shui Er. I'm just investigating her. Yan Wushuang was already unhappy. She exploded. Go to hell, Qin Feng. All you did was penetrate her a little. What else do you want? Qin Feng was baffled by Yan Wushuang's scolding. He was stunned for a long time before he regained his senses. He was overwhelmed by Yan Wushuang's rich imagination. I'm so frustrated. I'm just investigating her. Something's wrong with Shui Er. I think she's trying to harm me. That's why I'm investigating her, Qin Feng explained. Qin Feng wondered what was wrong with the women around him. Why did they all think of him as a lecherous and dissolute person? I don't know. Am I right or not? Yan Wushuang fell silent again. This time, it was a shy silence. She wanted to dig a hole in the ground and hide when she realized what had happened. She was so embarrassed this time. Ahem. I got it. I'll send it to you once I'm done. Yan Wushuang quickly hung up the phone. Qin Feng lay on the sofa. He was imagining Yan Wushuang's shy and blushing face. He thought it must be very funny. Soon, Yan Wushuang called back. Team Leader Yan, did you find anything? I've checked the Dragon Gate's internal information network. Shui Er's information is encrypted. Yan Wushuang's voice became serious. Encrypted documents were the privilege of the country's important leaders. Shui Er was just a celebrity, but her information was encrypted. Apply for Shui Er's information using my identity as Azure Dragon, Qin Feng said after being stunned for a while. You don't have the right to do that. Yan Wushuang sounded disappointed. Qin Feng was shocked. As one of the 9 dragons of China, how could he not have access to Shui Er's information? What was this woman's background? What kind of identity do I need to have access to her information? Qin Feng asked. I'm afraid I can't. I need the identity of the country's important leaders. I also need to apply for approval. The process is very complicated. Chapter 9:12. A group of mysterious martial artists suddenly appeared all over China. These martial artists were powerful and secretive. They were the outstanding disciples of the martial arts sects outside of Wuxia. Everyone please search for the most complete version. The fastest update in another month. It would be the Martial Assembly, that was held once every 5 years outside of China. At the Martial Assembly, there would be a freestyle martial arts competition. The strongest person in the Martial Assembly would become the most respected person in the martial arts world. The sect he represented would be chosen as the number 1 sect in the outer martial arts world. In the blink of an eye, 5 years had passed. The Martial Arts Circle convention 5 years ago was still fresh in the minds of the martial artists outside. A dark horse had appeared in the competition that year. At a young age, he had defeated various martial arts masters and reached the peak of the martial arts world. The martial arts tournament was about to begin, and all the martial artists outside were restless. Many martial artists from the outer world came to Acropolis City, especially around Devil Beast Mountain. Many martial artists from the outer world came to Devil Beast Mountain to gather herbs and train in preparation for the martial arts circle convention in a month. A group of men and women dressed in brown robes were hurrying on their way. The man walking at the front was in his early 40s. He was tall and burly, and he wore a green robe. Just from his clothes, one could tell that this man had a higher status. Elder Bai Yin, are we going to stay in Devil Beast Mountain for a month this time? A disciple with a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks asked the man who was leading the way. This group of people were all from the herbal sect. The monkey-faced disciple was called Bai Wu while the man leading them was called Bai Yin. Ever since the last pill competition, the herbal sect had suffered heavy losses. All the disciples who had participated in the competition had been annihilated. Bai Yao was the son of the herbal sect's sect leader, and Elder Bai was Bai Yao's biological second uncle. Furthermore, Elder Bai was a level 7 golden elixir master. It should be known that there were not many pill masters in the entire herbal sect who could reach the level of a level 7 elixir master. Elder Bai Yin slowed down his footsteps and said as he walked, "The Outer Martial Arts Circle Convention will be held in a month's time. The herbal sect will select a few of you outstanding disciples to come out and train. During this month, all of you must work hard and break through as soon as possible. So many of our disciples died mysteriously during the last pill conference. We must hold our heads high in this martial arts circle convention." At the mention of the previous pill conference, the group of medicine sect disciples began to feel nervous. Even White Fifth became cautious in his speech. "Elder Bai Yin, has the sect master found the mastermind behind that incident? That way, we can avenge our fallen brothers and sisters." "Humph. Big Brother has already investigated the matter." The Verdant sect suddenly appeared during the last medicinal pill conference. They had already set up a trap to rob the participants of the medicinal pill conference and kill them. "The reason I brought all of you out this time is to go to the Devil Beast Mountain, to gather medicinal herbs, and train, in order to find an opportunity to make a breakthrough. The second reason is to settle the score with the Verdant sect." During the last elixir conference, all the disciples of the herbal sect had perished. Later on, the Dragon sect and the Martial Art Alliance had issued an official statement blaming the Verdant sect for all the deaths. They had even issued an arrest warrant for the members of the Verdant sect throughout the country. The herbal sect also pointed the finger at the Verdant sect. They had no idea that Bai Yao and Elder Bai were actually killed by Qin Feng and Hua Yan. The faces of White Fifth and the other disciples turned ferocious. White Fifth took the lead and shouted, "Don't worry, Elder White Cloud. Don't let us see anyone from the Verdant sect. Otherwise, we will kill every single one of them." "That's right, he dares to offend the medicine sect? He's simply seeking death. The herbal sect is invincible. The herbal sect will become the champion of this martial arts tournament and become the strongest sect in the world of martial artists." The slogans of the herbal sect's disciples were loud and clear. White Cloud was pleased with himself as he listened to them. He also felt that with the herbal sect's strength, they still had a chance to compete for the position of the leader of the martial arts world. "Elder White Cloud, there seems to be a city in front of us." White Fifth suddenly stopped shouting and pointed at a wall in front of them. In this era, it was considered rare to see a city. However, there really was a city in front of them. There were 3 big words hanging on top of the city: Hero City. White Cloud stopped walking and stood on the spot. He looked at the Hero City that was dozens of meters away from them. His expression changed drastically. Something's wrong. The spiritual energy in this city is so dense, and there's even a faint fragrance of herbs in the air. It's geographically separated from Devil Beast Mountain by a river, and the other 2 sides are surrounded by mountains. The only entrance is surrounded by a city wall. This is the perfect place to build a base. As an elder of the medicine sect, Bai Yin naturally had very high standards. Coupled with the rapid development of society these days, large rivers, deep mountains and wild forests have been developed more and more. For external martial arts sects like the medicine sect, Choosing a base location has become a big problem. If a sect wanted to be strong, they would first need to build their base in an excellent location. The herbal sect had been expanding in secret all these years. The current base was obviously not enough to satisfy the herbal sect's development needs. Recently, the herbal sect had been worrying about expanding their base. White Cloud did not expect to find such a good place as soon as he came out. Let's go and have a look. White Cloud waved his hand and led the way towards Hero City. The group of disciples hurriedly followed behind him. The distance of almost 100 meters seemed like a few steps for these people. Before long, they were standing at the foot of Hero City. Who are you? This is Hero City's restricted area. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter. A group of gangsters from the phone group had been standing guard here 24 hours a day. They immediately stopped White Cloud's group. Hero City had developed rapidly and was now in its embryonic form. The planned buildings and facilities were almost complete. The inside was like a small city. White Cloud and the others were stunned. Hero City was no longer completely sealed off. Half a month ago it was open to the public. However, it was not easy to enter Hero City. The process was even more troublesome than going abroad. Hero City had its own green cards. Only those who had applied for a green card could enter Hero City. The fee to enter Hero City was extremely high, but even so, it did not stop the people from various regions from rushing to apply for a green card. There were even people who requested to move to Hero City and live there. Suchin Pharmaceuticals, Saint Medicine Hall, the Yin family's Divine Weapon Hall, the Qin family's Royal Group. More and more famous companies moved into Hero City. In Hero City, one could buy many things that could not be bought outside, and obtain many unexpected rewards. You mortals, how dare you block our elder White Cloud's path? Hurry up and move aside, or else I'll take your dog lives. White Cloud was immediately unhappy that he was blocked outside by the phone group. He immediately jumped out and hooted. The 8 phone group guards at the door all froze. One of them came to his senses and laughed. Mortals? You're acting like you're immortals? Are you stupid? Look at their clothes, they're probably swindlers that scam people for money. Alright. Hurry up and leave. Hero City has a rule that you can only enter with a green card. The people from the phone group were too lazy to lower themselves to White Cloud and the others. Because Hero City's reputation was explosive, there were hundreds of people trying to sneak into Hero City every day. The phone group guards were not surprised. You need a green card to enter such a crappy place? Do you think you're building a country here? White Fifth was naturally unwilling to leave. These people usually cultivated in the sect, relying on their extraordinary instincts. They felt that they were superior to others in their bones. In White Cloud's eyes, the 8 phone group guards at the door were no different than a herd of livestock. White Cloud looked at White Cloud's hooting and did not stop them. Evidently, he agreed with White Cloud's actions. The members of the phone group were all hoodlums. Especially after following young Master Qin, their tempers became more and more explosive. In this region of Yin Province, who dared to offend the phone group? White Cloud shouted again and again, and the people of the phone group could not control him. I say, you little brat, you're not willing to leave when I ask you to. Are you only willing to leave when I whip you? A brawny man couldn't take it anymore. He rolled up his sleeves and glared at White Cloud like a tiger watching its prey. White Cloud was so angry that his nose became crooked. These people from the phone group were just normal people. In his eyes, they were a herd of livestock. Even livestock dared to hoot at him? They were simply seeking death. Elder White Cloud. White Cloud looked at White Cloud. Without White Cloud's permission, White Cloud didn't dare to act rashly. This was because the martial arts world had an agreement with the Chinese government. They could leave the mountains to train, but they couldn't attack normal people. You're no match for us. If you know what's good for you, then hurry up and scram. Otherwise you'll die a horrible death. White Cloud looked at the 8 people at the door with disdain, as if he was looking at 8 ants. The 8 people from the phone group were completely enraged. These people were clearly here to cause trouble. The 8 of them shouted loudly and directly pounced at White Cloud. The people from the herbal sect didn't move at all. Their eyes were filled with mockery. No one cared about the 8 people from the phone group. White Cloud nodded slightly at White Cloud. White Cloud immediately became excited. He had wanted to make a move for a long time. Bang! White Cloud swung his fist, and the aura of a stage 6 inner chi burst out. This punch brought with it a gust of wind. The 4 people from the phone group who pounced first were sent flying, before they could even touch White Cloud's body. Bang bang! Bai Wu leaped up and kicked out 3 times in the air, sending the other 3 flying as well. The moment he landed, he suddenly pulled out the long sword wrapped in the black cloth behind him. With a flash of sword light, he slashed at the neck of the last person. The fight was too fast. It seemed as if it would end before it even started. The people from the phone group fell to the ground. They hadn't even regained their senses. They felt as if they were in a trance. How could they be defeated so quickly? However, everyone quickly regained their senses because the sword flashed. They saw that the head of a phone group member was about to be chopped off. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. They couldn't bear to see their brother being killed. Clang! A crisp sound rang out. White Cloud's expression changed drastically. His sword was blocked by an unknown object and bounced back. A beautiful figure descended and stood in front of the phone group member, who was almost killed. The woman wore a plain long dress. The hem of her dress dragged on the ground and covered her entire body. Her white dress was not tainted by a single speck of dust. The hem of her dress fluttered even though there was no wind. The woman's body emitted a pure and holy aura, as if she was a fairy that had descended to the mortal world. White Cloud had already retreated to Elder White Cloud's side. He was furious that he had been stopped from killing. Just as he was about to attack again, he trembled when he saw the woman's appearance. He was completely stunned. White Cloud wasn't the only one who was shocked. The people from the phone group were also stunned. The rest of the herbal sect disciples couldn't take their eyes off the fairy in white. Even Elder White Cloud was in a trance for a moment. This woman was too beautiful. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.